effort without faith is like planting seeds in barren soil. You can dig the ground, scatter the seeds, and water them day after day, yet nothing will grow because the life-giving power is missing. Many people today live this way, working tirelessly, chasing opportunity after opportunity, and exhausting themselves, only to feel as if life is slipping through their fingers. They hustle harder, thinking that if they just push a little more, sacrifice a little longer, or grind a little faster, their breakthrough will come. But I tell you this, no amount of human effort can accomplish what faith can do in a moment. You can work yourself into the ground, yet without faith, all your striving will feel like a door that never opens. We live in a world that glorifies effort, that praises those who never rest, that tells you to wake up earlier, stay up later, and do more. Yet, how many people who follow that path still feel stuck, broke, or spiritually empty? That is because they are fighting battles in the natural world without tapping into the spiritual law that governs everything. They believe that life is a game of sheer willpower, but they have forgotten that willpower, without alignment, is powerless. True power comes not from frantic action, but from faith. Faith in divine supply, faith in spiritual law. Faith that what you desire is already yours. You see, there is a spiritual principle that says, "It is done unto you as you believe." Not as you strive, not as you struggle, but as you believe. Life is not moved by desperation, it is moved by certainty. The reason faith works faster than effort is because faith aligns you with the infinite intelligence of God. Faith speaks directly to the unseen forces of the universe and commands them to respond. When you live by faith, you are no longer begging for your blessings. You are claiming what is already yours by divine right. Effort alone can be exhausting, like trying to row a boat against the current. Faith is like raising your sail and allowing the wind of spirit to carry you swiftly to your destination. When you have faith, life becomes a flow instead of a fight. Suddenly, opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to appear. Doors that were closed swing open effortlessly. People and resources show up at the perfect time. This is not coincidence. It is law. Faith is the spiritual law that makes miracles look natural. So why are so many still trapped in the cycle of endless effort? Because they believe that control comes from their own hands, that success depends on their own strength. They think the harder they push, the faster they will get ahead. But I tell you, the opposite is true. The moment you release fear and lean into faith, you will accomplish more in a day than years of toil could produce. The world teaches that sweat is the currency of success. Heaven teaches that belief is the currency of miracles. I want you to stop and think about your life right now. Where are you striving, pushing, and exhausting yourself? Where do you feel resistance? That is the very area where faith must replace force. Speak life over that situation. Declare, "I now stand in perfect alignment with divine law. All that is mine by divine right now comes to me quickly, easily, and under grace." Say it with conviction, and watch the energy around you shift. Faith is not passive, it is power in action. This is why faith works faster than effort. Because faith calls upon the infinite, while effort relies only on the finite. If you are ready to stop striving and start flowing, if you are ready to see your desires manifest with speed and grace, stay with me. What you are about to learn will change how you see work, success, and miracles forever. Faith is not a wish. Faith is not a fragile hope whispered into the night. Faith is your spiritual currency, the wealth of heaven placed in your hands to create the life you desire. Most people do not understand this. They treat faith like a lottery ticket, hoping that maybe, just maybe, they will be chosen for a miracle. But faith is not chance, faith is law. Just as surely as 2 + 2 = 4, faith spoken with conviction will always create results. When I say faith is your currency, I mean it is the power you spend in the spiritual realm to draw forth what you desire into the physical realm. It is the divine transaction that makes the unseen seen. The universe does not respond to panic. It does not rush to rescue those who vibrate with fear and desperation, no matter how loudly they cry. Spirit does not answer chaos, it answers certainty. Think of a radio. If you want to hear music, you must tune the dial to the right frequency. Screaming at the radio will not bring in the station you want. Only alignment will. In the same way, if your soul is vibrating at fear, you cannot receive abundance, because fear is not the frequency of supply. Faith is the frequency of manifestation. Faith is the tone that calls forth miracles, like a magnet pulling metal. Many people are working hard, praying hard, but still missing this truth. They pray as if God is far away, as if He might withhold blessings, unless they prove themselves worthy through suffering. That is not faith. That is fear disguised as devotion. True faith is bold. True faith says, I am a child of the Most High, and all that is mine by divine right comes to me now. True faith does not beg, it declares. It knows. It stands unmoved when storms rage, because it understands that spiritual law is not swayed by appearances. Let me tell you something that will change your life. The world you see around you is not as solid as you think. Every building, every road, every fortune, every success was once only an idea in someone's mind. Faith is what took that idea from the unseen and gave it form. Faith is the creative force behind everything you admire. The clothes you wear, the home you live in, the car you drive, all of it was once invisible, and faith brought it forth. If this law works for others, it will work for you. Spirit is no respecter of persons. The law responds not to who you are, but to what you believe. Some of you are rich in effort, but bankrupt in faith. You work tirelessly, but you have not invested in belief. Your mind rehearses failure, while your hands labor for success. That is why the results come slowly. Your effort may be good seed, but your faith is the fertile soil. Without the soil, the seed cannot grow. Your words are the water. Your gratitude is the sunlight. When these are in harmony, life blooms quickly, beautifully, and abundantly. You must begin to see your faith as a spiritual bank account. Every thought of certainty is a deposit. Every word spoken in fear is a withdrawal. Speak life, and your account overflows. Declare abundance, and heaven responds. The universe cannot deny faith, because faith is alignment with divine mind. You are not trying to convince God to bless you. God has already said yes. Faith is simply tuning your heart to hear that yes and receive what has been waiting for you all along. Once you truly understand that faith is currency, you will stop living like a beggar and start living like an heir. You will walk into every situation knowing that the wealth of heaven is backing you. The moment you believe this, Miracles stop being rare events and become your daily reality. This is why I say to you now, stop spending fear. Stop spending worry. Start spending faith. Invest in the unseen, and you will see the evidence manifest so quickly it will take your breath away. Faith is not optional, it is the key to everything. Effort has its place. It is good to work, to be diligent, to use your talents and hands to create. But hear me when I say this: effort alone is limited. You can push your body to exhaustion, labor day and night, and still feel as if nothing is moving. Why? Because physical effort moves your hands, but faith moves the universe. The unseen power of faith can do in a moment what years of struggle cannot accomplish. When you learn this truth, life changes. Suddenly, you are no longer a prisoner of endless striving. You become a master of spiritual alignment. There is a heaviness that comes from working without faith. It feels like climbing a mountain with no summit in sight. Many people are trapped in this cycle, thinking that if they just work harder, God will finally notice their sacrifice. But God does not need your suffering to bless you. Spirit responds to your belief, not your burnout. Labor without faith is like rowing a boat with broken oars. You are expending energy, but you are not getting anywhere. Faith is the wind that fills your sail. Faith is what turns your small efforts into supernatural results. Think of the farmer. He tills the ground, plants the seed, and waters the soil. But he does not force the seed to grow. He trusts that the sun will shine, the rain will fall, and the invisible life within, that seed will break through the earth in its perfect timing. His hands do the work, but it is faith that makes him patient. He knows that no amount of effort can rush the harvest, but his belief ensures that it comes. In the same way, your faith is the invisible life, force behind every action you take. Without it, your effort feels empty. With it, your effort becomes powerful. I once spoke with a man who had been working 3 jobs, exhausted and bitter, trying to pay off his debts. He said to me, "Mrs. Shinn, I don't understand. I am working harder than ever, but I feel like I'm sinking deeper." I told him, "You are leaning on your own strength and leaving God out of your affairs. You are relying only on your hands, but your faith is idle. You must call forth what is yours by divine right." I gave him affirmations to speak daily. I am fully supplied with everything I need, here and now. Divine supply is my inheritance. He began to repeat these words, and something shifted. Within a few weeks, unexpected opportunities came, debts were forgiven, and his financial situation changed. Not because he worked harder, but because faith opened a door effort could not unlock. When you rely only on your effort, life feels like an uphill battle. But when you partner with faith, life begins to carry you. Faith breaks barriers that physical effort cannot even touch. Faith reaches into places your hands will never go. Faith rearranges circumstances, softens hearts, and makes a way where there is none. Your job is to show up and do your part. Yes, but to do it anchored in the unshakable, knowing that Spirit is working behind the scenes. Many are weary today, not because they are doing too much, but because they are doing it without faith. Faith is the oil that keeps the wheels of life turning smoothly. Without it, every step feels like dragging a heavy load. But when faith is alive, even hard work feels light, because you know you are not working alone. You are moving with the current of divine power. I urge you to pause and ask yourself, am I working harder, or am I believing stronger? The truth is, faith is not meant to replace action. It is meant to supercharge it. Faith turns ordinary steps into extraordinary results. The person who works without faith may reach their goal eventually, but the one who walks in faith sees doors open effortlessly, resources flow easily, and miracles manifest daily. This is why I say with all certainty effort has its limits, but faith knows no barriers. Faith is infinite. Faith is your bridge from the seen to the unseen, and once you embrace it, life will no longer feel like a burden. It will feel like a blessing unfolding. Let me tell you a story that will open your heart to the power of faith. Years ago, a woman came to me in utter despair. She was buried in debt, weighed down by fear, and exhausted from working long hours just to stay afloat. Her eyes were tired, and her voice trembled as she said, "Mrs. Shinn, I've done everything I can. I've cut expenses. I've begged my creditors for more time. I've taken every extra job I can find, but it feels like I'm drowning. What else can I possibly do?" I looked at her and said gently, "You have done everything, but the most important thing, you have not turned your debt over to God." She blinked at me, confused. "What do you mean?" she asked. I said, "You are trying to carry the whole burden yourself. You believe that your hands, your effort, and your struggle are the only ways to solve this. But what you are facing is bigger than you, and it requires something greater than you. It requires faith. Divine law is not moved by fear, but it is activated by your belief." She stared at me with tears in her eyes, and I knew she was ready to try a new way. So I gave her an affirmation. There is no debt in divine mind. What God has for me now comes to me with speed and ease under grace. My supply is endless, inexhaustible, and immediate. I told her to repeat these words daily, to speak them as if they were already true, and most importantly, to release her fear and start expecting unexpected good. At first, she struggled. Her mind would whisper, "This is silly. Words can't erase bills." But she kept repeating the affirmation anyway. She wrote it on slips of paper and placed them around her house. She said it while she worked. She said it while she cooked dinner. She said it when she felt panic rise in her chest, and something miraculous began to happen. She noticed a shift in her spirit. She began to feel peace instead of fear. She began to expect help instead of despairing. She was aligning herself with divine law, and divine law always responds. One morning, she called me in shock. "You won't believe what happened," she said. "A distant relative I hadn't spoken to in years passed away and left me a small inheritance. It's not just enough to pay my bills. It's enough to clear all my debt and start fresh." Tears of gratitude filled her voice. "Mrs. Shinn, I thought I'd be trapped forever, but this came out of nowhere." I smiled and said, "It didn't come out of nowhere. It came from the invisible supply that is always there, waiting for your faith to call it forth." This woman had worked herself to exhaustion, but nothing changed until she changed her belief. The moment she aligned her words and her thoughts with God's abundance, the universe rearranged circumstances in her favor. That is the power of faith. Friends, this story is not rare. It is a picture of what happens when you trust God more than your fear. You see, your situation may look hopeless, But faith does not rely on appearances. Faith sees beyond the bills, the reports, and the empty accounts. Faith sees the overflowing storehouses of divine mind and claims them as reality. When you speak faith, the Spirit begins to move people, events, and resources to meet your needs in ways you could never plan. That is why faith works faster than effort. This woman didn't receive a miracle because she begged harder. She received it because she believed stronger. And so can you. Release your panic, speak your truth, and expect the unexpected. Heaven is not slow, but it will not override your disbelief. The moment you align with faith, doors will open so swiftly you will know it was God Himself who moved on your behalf. Many people live their lives as if they are at the mercy of chance. They say, "If I'm lucky, things will work out," or "Maybe one day my break will come." But I tell you today, your life is not a gamble. You are not at the mercy of luck. You are governed by law, spiritual law, divine law, the law that says, "It is done unto you as you believe." This is not poetry, this is a principle that works as reliably as gravity. You cannot see gravity, but you trust it every time your feet touch the ground. In the same way, faith is invisible, yet it pulls into your life exactly what you believe, like a magnet drawing iron. Once you understand this, you will stop living like a victim of random chance. There are no accidents in spirit. There is alignment, there is timing, there is belief. Faith is not hoping God might notice you. It is knowing God has already supplied everything you could ever need. What you see as a miracle is often just spiritual law working perfectly because you finally aligned with it. That is why some people seem to get lucky. Often, it is not luck at all, but their belief creating an open door. Faith is the blueprint of your reality. Whatever you build in your heart and speak with conviction will eventually show up in your life. If your belief is small, your results are small. If your belief is bold, your blessings are bold. Life is not withholding from you. It is reflecting you. That is why you must choose your words carefully. Every complaint, every fear, every "I can't" is a seed planted in your future, and every affirmation of faith is also a seed, one that grows faster and stronger, because spirit moves on belief. I once counseled a man who had been searching for work for months. He came to me feeling defeated. "Mrs. Shinn," he said, "I've applied to every job I can find. I've done everything I know how to do, but it feels like no one sees me." I told him, "It is not that no one sees you. It is that you do not see yourself as already employed. You are sending out a vibration of desperation instead of certainty." I taught him to affirm, "The perfect position is already mine. I see myself in it, I walk in it, I give thanks for it now." Within 2 weeks, he received an offer for a position far better than anything he had applied for. That was not luck. That was faith. Faith is like electricity. It is always present, but you must flip the switch to see its power. You cannot say, "I'll believe it when I see it," because that is not faith, that is doubt. Faith says, "I believe it, so I will see it." The moment you shift your belief, your reality begins to bend toward it. You may not see results overnight, but the law is already working, rearranging everything in your favor. This is why I urge you, stop gambling with life as if blessings are a rare prize you must earn. You are not begging God to bless you, You are learning to believe so deeply that His blessings have no choice but to appear. Faith is not superstition, it is spiritual science. It works every time, for every person who dares to believe. You are holding the magnet that draws every good thing you desire. Strengthen your belief, and you will see that nothing is impossible. Now that you understand faith is not a gamble but a law, let me show you how to use this law to change your life. Because spiritual truth is not meant to be admired, it is meant to be applied. If you do not put this law into action, it will remain only words. And I want you to see proof. I want you to see results. I want you to see your desires manifest so clearly that you never again doubt the power of faith. The first step is this: speak what you desire as if it is already yours. Stop describing life as it is, and start declaring life as it will be. Words are not just sounds, they are seeds. Every time you speak, you are planting something in your future. So many people curse their own lives without realizing it, saying things like, "I can't afford this," or "I'm always unlucky," or "Nothing ever works for me." And then they are surprised when their words come true. You must reverse that pattern. You must speak faith. If you want wealth, begin saying, "I am divinely prospered. Money flows to me easily, abundantly, and under grace." If you want health, declare, "I am whole, strong, and radiant with the life of God." If you want love, speak, "I am surrounded by love, and the perfect relationships are drawn to me now." Speak these things with certainty, because your words are the blueprint for your reality. The second step is stop striving and start declaring. Most people exhaust themselves trying to figure out every detail of how their desires will come. They plan, they overthink, they worry, and they call it preparation. But it is fear wearing the mask of responsibility. Spiritual law does not require you to figure out how. It only requires you to believe that it is done. Your job is not to push doors open by force, but to declare them open with faith. Every morning, stand up and declare, "Every door that belongs to me is open now. Every opportunity that is mine comes with speed and ease. I walk in favor and abundance today." When you declare with conviction, you set powerful forces into motion. The third step is to use affirmations to reprogram your mind. The mind is like a garden. If you do not plant it with truth, weeds of fear and doubt will take over. An affirmation is a spiritual command, a decree from the throne of your spirit. One of my favorite affirmations, which I have seen change countless lives, is this: "All that is mine by divine right now comes to me quickly, easily, and under grace in perfect ways." Say it daily, say it with faith, and watch as unexpected blessings begin to appear. This affirmation is not a request, it is a declaration. It is you aligning your heart with God's perfect plan. Here is something you must understand: faith is not passive. Faith is not sitting quietly, hoping something good will happen. Faith is bold. Faith speaks. Faith acts as if the promise is already fulfilled. When you pray, pray with thanksgiving, not desperation. When you affirm, speak with authority, not hesitation. You are not a beggar before God. You are His child, and His riches are your inheritance. If you will take these steps daily, speak as if it is done, declare instead of striving, and fill your mind with affirmations, you will begin to see your world shift. Doors will open without effort. People will show up at the right time. Opportunities will chase you instead of you chasing them. This is not coincidence. This is law. Once you activate your faith, life begins to work for you instead of against you. So I challenge you, for the next 7 days, speak only words of faith over your life. Declare boldly. Affirm without fear. Act as if your prayers are already answered. In 7 days, you will see a difference. And in time, you will look back and realize that faith has carried you further than effort ever could. This is how you activate the law of faith. It is not complicated, but it is powerful. Are you trusting your own strength, or are you allowing Spirit to move through you? This is the question that determines whether your life will feel like a constant uphill struggle or a miraculous flow. Many of you listening today have been carrying burdens far too heavy for human shoulders. You are tired, you are striving, and yet the breakthrough feels distant. My dear friend, Spirit never intended for you to live this way. You are not meant to fight for your blessings. You are meant to receive them. Faith is the bridge from where you are to where God has already prepared for you to be. Let this message sink deep. Your effort is not the problem, but your reliance on effort alone is. Yes, work diligently. Yes, use wisdom and take action. But never forget that your strength is limited, while Spirit's strength is infinite. You cannot outwork fear. You must outfaith it. You cannot outplan lack. You must outbelieve it. The law of life is not, "It is done unto you as you try harder." It is done unto you as you believe. If you truly believed that everything you need is already waiting for you, would you still panic? Would you still rush, worry, and exhaust yourself? Or would you begin to rest in the knowing that Spirit has gone before you to prepare your way? This is the shift that changes everything. The moment you stop striving and start trusting, your entire energy changes. Opportunities notice you, favor finds you, miracles feel normal. Faith opens doors that human effort could knock on for years without an answer. And that is why I am challenging you right now. Release the struggle. Lay down the constant fear. Say these words with me. I no longer live by fear and striving. I live by faith, and I trust Spirit to make a way. Say it until it becomes your truth, until your heart knows it is done. I have seen lives transformed overnight by this simple decision to trust God fully. I have seen debts erased, sickness vanish, relationships restored, and opportunities multiply, not because people worked themselves into exhaustion, but because they aligned themselves with the law of faith. What you are facing right now may seem impossible. The bills may be piling up. The job may seem out of reach. The healing may feel delayed. But faith is not shaken by appearances. Faith knows that Spirit is always working, even when you cannot see it. Your job is to believe, to speak life, and to walk as if it is already done. If you take nothing else from this message, take this: your life will always rise or fall to the level of your faith. Faith is not weakness. Faith is strength. It takes courage to trust God more than your circumstances. It takes boldness to declare abundance when your bank account is empty, to speak health when the doctor's report is grim, to walk forward when the road is unclear. But this is the courage that shifts mountains. This is the courage that makes miracles your reality. So today, I invite you to step out of fear and into faith. Stop waiting for life to get easier before you believe. Believe now and watch life get easier. Trust now and watch the doors open. The Spirit of God is not slow, and it is not withholding. It is waiting for your yes, your faith, your declaration. Decide today to trust Him completely, and your life will become a testimony of what faith can do. From this day forward, refuse to live by striving. Begin to live by trust. Speak boldly, walk fearlessly, and expect the impossible. Your miracle is closer than you think, and faith is the key that will unlock it. Let this be your new normal, a life so full of faith that blessings have no choice but to find you.
There is a hidden law of life, a golden thread woven through the fabric of existence, that answers to the voice of faith. When words are spoken with certainty, they go forth clothed in power, and what they declare must return fulfilled. The universe is responsive, alive, and infinitely abundant, and it waits only for the word of command from the heart that knows its authority. Money is not a stranger, nor is it difficult to attract. It is a divine idea, circulating freely, seeking its rightful channel. Those who learn to align their thoughts and words with this truth find that prosperity flows like a river, unceasing, unstoppable, and entirely natural. A psalm is more than poetry. It is a spiritual decree, a timeless affirmation of divine law. And when spoken with conviction, it opens doors that seemed forever shut. To speak a psalm for 7 days with unwavering trust is to set in motion an unseen force that breaks limitation, dissolves lack, and calls forth supply from unexpected directions. 7 is the number of completion, of cycles fulfilled, of the perfect work of spirit. To speak for 7 days is to press the truth into the subconscious, impressing the law with the certainty of prosperity, until lack becomes unthinkable and abundance the only reality. When money seems far away, the error lies not in the outer world, but in the silent inner dialogue. Doubt, fear, and complaint weave shadows that block the radiant flow. Yet a psalm, spoken faithfully, clears the atmosphere of thought and floods it with divine certainty. It is like opening windows to let in sunlight. The gloom vanishes, and everything hidden comes alive with brightness. As words of truth are repeated, the mind grows still, the heart opens, and a new expectancy takes root. Prosperity begins to feel near, inevitable, even ordinary. And soon, money responds. It flows in with ease, in ways too marvelous to predict. For divine supply is never limited to the channels the mind imagines. One need not struggle, strain, or chase. The psalm, spoken in faith, does the work. It plants the seed in the soil of spirit, and spirit multiplies the seed beyond measure. The act of speaking for 7 days is a symbol of persistence, a refusal to accept appearances of lack. It is faith in action, trust that the invisible is more real than the visible, and that money, like air, is abundant, circulating, and ready to fill every need. Those who dare to try will find that the word is power, the psalm is the key, and 7 days of faith can overturn years of limitation. For money is not a problem, it is an idea of supply, ever present and waiting to be claimed. And as the psalm is spoken, again and again, the truth becomes flesh, and prosperity flows as naturally as breath itself. Words spoken in faith command the flow of money, for every syllable carries a vibration, and every vibration creates a result in the unseen. The tongue is a creative instrument, the bridge between thought and form, and when it speaks from the wellspring of faith, it becomes a mighty force that bends circumstances, opens doors, and summons abundance. Faith is the assurance that what is declared must come to pass, and when words are uttered with that assurance, they cannot fail. It is not the word alone that holds power, but the consciousness behind the word. The unwavering certainty that backs it like a divine current. When the two are united, word and faith, prosperity responds as surely as an echo answers a call. Money is not drawn by effort alone, nor by anxiety, calculation, or strain. It responds to the vibration of belief, to the word spoken with trust that supply is infinite and ever available. Many speak words of lack unconsciously, repeating phrases of fear and limitation, and so their life mirrors those declarations. They say, "I never have enough," and the universe obediently reflects it back. But when a new decree is spoken, a psalm of abundance, held firm in faith and never cancelled by doubt, the flow of money shifts, as though a hidden gate has swung open. The universe is listening, not with ears but with law. Law does not reason, it does not question, it only executes. When you speak with faith, you impress the law with certainty. And what is impressed must be expressed. A psalm recited for 7 days is not a superstition, but a spiritual exercise in persistence. A hammer of truth striking again and again until the walls of limitation crumble. Each repetition engraves the word deeper into consciousness, until faith grows strong and unshakable, and the word goes forth like an arrow, piercing appearances of lack and commanding the arrival of money in perfect ways. Consider the nature of faith. It is not mere hope, nor wishful thinking, but the deep knowing that the invisible supply is already present. To speak words in faith is to declare what is already true in spirit, calling it forth into the visible. You do not beg or plead for money, for begging implies separation and distance. You affirm its presence. You call it by name, you speak as one who knows, and so the word carries authority. Just as a king decrees and it is done. The soul that speaks in faith decrees prosperity, and the law of abundance obeys without hesitation. When words of faith are spoken, the subconscious mind becomes the soil in which the seed is planted. The subconscious does not argue, it accepts. It receives the word, waters it with emotion, and brings it forth into experience. To say, money flows to me easily and in perfect ways, with faith, is to plant the seed of financial freedom. To repeat it daily, without contradicting it with fear or complaint, is to nurture the seed until it grows into a harvest. The outer world cannot resist the inner command for long, it must align. For consciousness precedes form, and speech is the tool of consciousness. Those who doubt may look only at appearances and say, "But the money is not here." Yet appearances are but shadows of past words and beliefs. To focus on them is to chain yourself to yesterday's decrees. Faith speaks of what is true beyond appearances, and words spoken in that faith rewrite the script. Soon, the outer must bend, because the inner has been renewed. The law is impartial. It gives to each according to their spoken word, backed by belief. Speak limitation with conviction, and limitation comes. Speak abundance with conviction, and abundance flows. Money is not a cold material object but a symbol of circulation, energy in motion. It seeks channels, it seeks expression, and it answers to the one who calls it with authority. Words of faith are the magnet, drawing money not through toil alone, but through synchronicity, ideas, opportunities, and channels unforeseen. Many labor heavily yet speak words of fear, and so their harvest is small. Others speak words of faith and find that opportunities arrive effortlessly, doors swing wide, and money appears from directions never imagined. This is not chance but law. The spoken word, charged with faith, creates currents in the unseen that draw substance into form. Imagine the spoken word as a key turning in a lock. The lock is not outside you, but within. The barrier of unbelief, the door of doubt. When you speak with faith, the key turns smoothly, the lock opens, and the flow of money, already present in spirit, pours forth into visibility. If you speak without faith, the key does not turn, and the door remains closed. No matter how often you knock, it is the faith behind the word that commands, the faith that says, "It is already done, it is already mine." To cultivate this, the repetition of a psalm is a sacred act. Each time you speak it, you train the mind to accept abundance as natural, to release the old language of lack, to breathe in the truth of supply. Faith grows with use, like a muscle exercised daily. At first, the words may feel like mere phrases, but as you persist, they sink deeper, they take root, and soon they feel like truth itself. And when the subconscious accepts them as truth, the outer must align, for the law cannot be broken. Thus, words spoken in faith are not idle sounds. They are commands issued to the universe, decrees that money must obey. They are the proclamation of abundance, the declaration of dominion over fear, the song of prosperity sung into existence. Speak them once with doubt, and they are weak. Speak them again and again with faith, and they gather strength until nothing can resist their fulfillment. Money is not persuaded by worry, nor by desperation, but by the word of authority, the word that knows its power, the word that flows from faith. A psalm is a decree of divine abundance, spoken from the heart of spirit into the fabric of life, a declaration that transcends ordinary speech and touches the eternal law that governs supply. It is not simply a verse to be read or a ritual to be performed. It is a proclamation of truth that overrides appearances of lack and announces the presence of infinite riches. To recite a psalm is to align the self with a vibration of power older than time, a rhythm that moves through the unseen and shapes the seen. Each word is charged with the essence of divine law, and when spoken with faith, it commands matter, circumstances, and opportunity to obey. The power of a psalm rests not in its poetry alone, but in its vibration, the resonance it awakens within the soul. When the words are spoken, they stir the subconscious, awaken dormant faith, and attune the mind to the higher law of supply. They lift thought from limitation into certainty, from fear into knowing, from complaint into gratitude. A psalm carries with it the weight of authority, for it is not a plea to a distant source, but a reminder of what is already true, that abundance is ever present, limitless, and waiting to be recognized. When you speak a psalm, you are not asking for wealth to be created, you are commanding wealth to manifest from the infinite storehouse already prepared. A decree is not a suggestion, nor is it a wish. It is a word of authority, spoken with the assurance that it cannot fail. The psalm acts as this decree, a verbal scepter in the hands of one who knows their dominion. It is the language of the king declaring sovereignty, the language of spirit affirming its birthright. To decree divine abundance is to stand firm in truth, refusing to acknowledge lack as reality, refusing to allow fear to dictate, and declaring boldly that money, supply, and opportunity are flowing now. This decree does not linger in the air as empty sound, it sets in motion the law of circulation, which always answers to the spoken word. Every psalm carries within it divine ideas, ideas of plenty, of guidance, of protection, of overflowing good. When you speak these words, they do not remain external, they take root within consciousness, and consciousness is the soil in which manifestation grows. You impress the subconscious with the truth that abundance is natural, that supply is near, that there is no scarcity in spirit. As the subconscious accepts this truth, it shapes the outer world accordingly, arranging circumstances, drawing people, opening channels, and releasing money into visible form. The psalm is the decree that stamps this law onto the inner mind, ensuring that the outer life cannot help but reflect it. The act of speaking a psalm is a sacred transaction. You give your words, and in return the law gives manifestation. You sow with your lips, and you reap with your life. The decree is the seed, the subconscious is the soil, and abundance is the inevitable harvest. Just as one who plants wheat cannot reap thorns, one who decrees abundance cannot reap lack. The harvest is determined by the seed, and the psalm ensures that only seeds of prosperity, confidence, and divine certainty are planted. To repeat the psalm is to water the seed daily, to keep it alive, to protect it from the weeds of doubt and fear. Money is one form of abundance, but the decree of a psalm reaches beyond money into all expressions of prosperity. It commands harmony in affairs, success in endeavors, opportunities that seem to appear as if by miracle. Yet money itself flows naturally when the decree is spoken. Because money is an obedient servant of consciousness, it has no will of its own, it follows the word. If the decree is one of shortage, money obeys and withdraws. If the decree is one of plenty, money obeys and flows. The psalm ensures that the decree is always aligned with plenty, never with lack. There are those who read psalms mechanically, reciting without faith, and for them the words seem empty. But when the psalm is spoken with conviction, it is alive, electric, unstoppable. The decree is not in the letters on the page, but in the spirit with which they are uttered. When spoken as truth, each phrase is a sword cutting through illusion, each sentence a key opening the vault of abundance. The psalm is both shield and weapon, guarding against fear and striking down limitation. It does not beg, it declares. It does not waver, it commands. In every age, seekers of prosperity have found refuge in the Psalms, because they carry this hidden code of decree. They align the speaker with divine certainty and turn the tide of circumstance. They shift the atmosphere of thought, and when thought shifts, matter must follow. The psalm is a decree that cannot be reversed, because once spoken in faith, it enters the law, and the law fulfills. No obstruction can stand against it, no delay can cancel it, for the decree of abundance carries with it the authority of Spirit itself. When you take a psalm upon your lips and speak it as a decree, you step into your role as co-creator with the divine. You no longer see yourself as a beggar at the gates of wealth, but as a rightful heir to infinite supply. You stand in the center of power, declaring that money, success, and prosperity must answer your call. The decree becomes a vibration that radiates outward, touching people, places, and opportunities, drawing them into alignment with your spoken word. It travels through the unseen, arranging the scene, until the visible life reflects the invisible truth you have declared. A psalm is more than comfort, more than inspiration. It is the decree of divine abundance spoken into the law of life, and the law has no choice but to obey. Each time you speak it, you reinforce your dominion, you establish your authority, and you write prosperity into the fabric of your experience. The decree echoes through consciousness, resounds through the universe, and returns as visible wealth, perfect timing, and overflowing good. It is the eternal reminder that abundance is not distant, not scarce, not withheld, but present, plentiful, and waiting for the decree that calls it forth. Money is a divine idea, not a struggle, for it was never meant to be pursued with fear, anxiety, or endless toil. It exists as a symbol of supply, a tool through which the abundance of spirit flows into visible form. To see money as a struggle is to misunderstand its nature, to mistake the shadow for the substance. Money is not the source, it is the channel. The true source is infinite, limitless, and eternal, and it flows through money as easily as through health, love, peace, or opportunity. When one realizes that money is an idea born in divine mind, it ceases to be something distant, difficult, or scarce, and becomes as natural as air, as inevitable as the rising of the sun. The struggle begins only when fear of lack takes hold. When one imagines money as separate from the divine, and therefore difficult to obtain. This false belief drives people to chase, compete, and exhaust themselves in pursuit of what was already theirs by divine right. They labor under the illusion that money is hard, that it belongs only to a few, that it must be taken by force or secured through constant worry. Yet all the while, the law of supply waits for recognition, ready to pour forth the moment resistance is dissolved. Money flows not through strain but through recognition, not through desperation but through alignment with the truth that supply is ever present. A divine idea cannot be limited, and money, as such an idea, is limitless in potential. Every coin, every note, every channel of wealth is but one expression of the infinite substance of spirit. The forms may change. One era brings gold, another paper, another digital currency, but the idea remains unchanged. It is abundance made visible, circulating, moving, serving as the symbol of divine provision. To cling to the form and forget the idea is to miss the essence. Those who know the truth can never fear the disappearance of one form, for they understand that the idea itself is eternal and will always produce new forms as needed. The struggle disappears when money is seen as circulation rather than possession. It is not something to hoard or fear losing, but something to allow, to let flow, to release and receive. Just as blood must circulate to give life, money must circulate to express abundance. Hoarding from fear blocks the current, just as clenching the fist blocks the hand from receiving. But when money is viewed as a divine idea, its flow becomes effortless, for ideas cannot be exhausted. The more freely they are expressed, the more they multiply. To give with joy is to prove the law, to let the current move without resistance, and in return, the flow increases. Struggle arises only in the belief of separation, the thought that one is cut off from the source, that money depends solely on personal effort or chance. but no one can ever be separated from the divine mind, for it is the very breath within. The idea of money originates there, and to align with it is to step into effortless provision. The one who knows money as a divine idea does not fear recession, inflation, or loss, for they understand that outer conditions cannot erase what exists eternally in the unseen. Conditions shift, but ideas remain, and divine ideas always find expression. To live in this truth is to view money not as a master, but as a servant. It was never intended to enslave or dominate, but to serve as a medium of exchange, a symbol of trust, a tool for the circulation of good. When one makes money a master, the struggle begins, for the servant is placed on the throne. But when money is restored to its rightful place as a divine idea, peace returns, and the struggle ends. It flows naturally to those who use it rightly, who honor its role as an instrument of circulation, who recognize it as one of many ways abundance manifests. Money as an idea is also creative, responding to thought, imagination, and faith. Just as an architect sees a building first in thought before it rises in stone, the one aligned with abundance sees prosperity first in consciousness before it appears in form. The decree spoken in faith becomes the blueprint, and money flows as one of the materials, summoned to bring the design into reality. To struggle is to forget the blueprint and attempt to build with random scraps. To know money as a divine idea is to trust that the supply of material always matches the design of faith. Every divine idea carries within it the power of multiplication. A seed is an idea of life, and within it lies the power to become a tree, bearing countless more seeds. Money as an idea works the same. It does not diminish by being used, it multiplies through circulation. One coin spent in faith may return as 10, one act of generosity may open doors to abundance unimagined. To believe money is scarce is to block this multiplication, to see only the single seed and forget the forest it contains. To believe money is a divine idea is to trust the forest is already within the seed, and to act accordingly with confidence. Struggle also arises from comparison, the false belief that abundance is limited and must be taken from another in order to be enjoyed. Yet money as a divine idea knows no such limitation. The supply is infinite, tailored perfectly to each soul's purpose, flowing in perfect measure to each who aligns with it. There is no competition in divine law, no scarcity of ideas, no shortage of supply. The ocean does not ration its waves, the sun does not limit its light, and spirit does not restrict abundance. Money, flowing as a divine idea, is no less infinite than these. To embody this truth is to approach money with calm assurance, to see it not as a weight of struggle but as a current of freedom. It is not something to fear or chase, but something to trust, to welcome, to release, and to receive again. When money is viewed as a divine idea, the frantic grasping ceases, and the natural rhythm of circulation is restored. Prosperity then becomes a dance, not a fight, a harmony, not a burden. The divine idea sustains itself, nourishes itself, expresses itself, and those who align with it are lifted out of struggle into ease. Faith dissolves fear and clears the channel of supply. For fear is the great obstruction, the cloud that veils the ever-present abundance waiting to flow. Fear whispers of loss, of scarcity, of failure. And the mind that listens begins to build barriers against its own good. Faith is the light that scatters this shadow, the fire that melts the ice of doubt, the cleansing current that opens the way for prosperity to move freely and unhindered. Where fear contracts, faith expands. Where fear says not enough, faith declares more than enough. Where fear blocks the door, faith throws it wide open, and through that opening the riches of spirit pour without limit. Fear is born of illusion, of mistaking appearances for truth. When the bank account appears empty, fear rushes in to say that supply is gone. When opportunities seem scarce, fear insists that doors are closed. Yet these are only shadows, the residue of old beliefs, the outpicturing of thoughts long past. Faith looks beyond the shadow to the eternal substance behind it, to the invisible storehouse that cannot be exhausted. Faith does not argue with appearances, nor does it deny their existence, it simply refuses to be ruled by them. It sees with the eye of spirit, And in that vision, the supply is already present, waiting to break through into form. Every channel of abundance is clogged by fear. The one who fears loss holds tightly, clutching money as though its presence ensures safety, and in that clutching, the flow stops. The one who fears lack speaks words of worry, and those words create walls that block prosperity. The one who fears failure hesitates, delays, and refuses to act, and so opportunities pass by untouched. Fear creates stagnation, a dam in the river of supply. But faith is the command to let the river run. It is the assurance that the source is greater than any appearance, that the supply is infinite, that abundance knows no obstruction except the walls of thought. As those walls dissolve, the river flows again, and what seemed dry becomes fertile with riches. Faith is not mere optimism, nor blind hope, but the deep knowing that abundance is real, present, and responsive. It is the recognition that the universe is orderly, that divine law governs with precision, that good cannot be withheld from the one who aligns with it. Faith is the anchor in truth, the stance of certainty, the refusal to entertain any suggestion of lack. And in this certainty, the channels of supply are cleared, because the subconscious responds to conviction. When you speak words of faith, the subconscious accepts them, imprints them, and shapes the outer world accordingly. Fear cannot survive in the atmosphere of such conviction. It dissolves like mist under the rising sun. The one who cultivates faith begins to see evidence of supply everywhere. A chance encounter, a sudden idea, an unexpected gift, all are recognized as channels through which the law fulfills itself. Fear would dismiss these as coincidences, as too small to matter, but faith sees them as signs of the great river flowing. And as gratitude rises for these tokens, the flow increases, for gratitude is the hand that gathers more. Fear complains and repels, faith blesses and attracts. Thus, by shifting from fear to faith, one shifts from blockage to circulation, from contraction to expansion, from scarcity to abundance. Fear often disguises itself as caution, as logic, as realism. It says, "Be careful, there is not enough," or "Prepare for loss, it is inevitable." But these voices are only echoes of the past, patterns ingrained by repetition, beliefs that no longer serve. Faith, on the other hand, speaks with clarity and authority. There is always enough, for supply is infinite, loss cannot touch the source. My abundance comes not from circumstances, but from divine law. To choose faith is to step out of the prison built by these false voices and into the freedom of truth. And in that freedom, the channels of supply open wide. Faith is magnetic. It draws supply as surely as iron draws to the magnet. The energy of faith radiates assurance, and the universe responds by sending evidence of abundance. Others sense it too, often without realizing why. Doors open more easily, people offer opportunities, wealth seems to find its way. Fear repels, scattering the current, sending confusion into the atmosphere. Faith gathers, harmonizes, focuses the current, and in that focus prosperity appears. To live in faith is to carry an atmosphere of abundance wherever you go, and in that atmosphere, money and supply naturally respond. When fear arises, as it often will, the remedy is to speak the word of faith. Words have power to shift vibration, to clear the inner channel. Saying aloud, "I live in abundance, my supply is secure, all that I need flows to me now," spoken with conviction, dissolves the creeping shadow of lack. Repetition reinforces the truth until fear loses its grip entirely. The act of speaking is not mere comfort, it is command. The subconscious hears. The law responds, the universe obeys. Fear cannot withstand the steady decree of faith, and so the channels are kept open, the river keeps moving. The supply continues to flow. Faith is also action. It does not sit idle, waiting for proof. It steps forward, trusting that the way will appear. Fear hesitates, waiting for certainty before moving, and in the hesitation, opportunities pass. Faith moves, and in the moving, doors appear. Resources arise, provision arrives. The act of faith is the clearing of the channel in motion, the refusal to let fear paralyze or delay. Each step taken in faith is like removing another stone from the riverbed, allowing the current to run more freely. Soon the flow becomes so strong that it cannot be stopped, and prosperity pours forth in abundance. The practice of faith is continual. It must be chosen again and again, for fear will attempt to return, whispering of danger, pointing to appearances. Yet each time faith is chosen, the habit of abundance grows stronger, and the hold of fear weakens. The mind becomes trained to expect supply, to anticipate provision, to assume abundance. And what the mind expects, the law fulfills. Faith becomes natural, the normal stance of thought, and fear fades into irrelevance. The channel, once clogged with worry and doubt, runs clear and open, and the supply flows steadily, without interruption. Prosperity flows through unexpected doors, for the channels through which abundance comes are never limited to the small paths the human mind imagines. When one thinks supply must arrive only through a salary, an investment, or a business, the mind builds walls around the infinite, confining the limitless flow of spirit to narrow corridors. Yet divine law knows no such restriction. The supply already exists in countless forms, waiting for recognition, and it moves into visibility by paths so surprising, so precise that no human planning could have devised them. Prosperity often appears where it was least expected, through doors that seemed invisible until the moment they opened, proving again that the divine is never bound by limitation, and that money flows by law, not by chance. The unexpected door is often the proof of divine order. A closed door is not the end but the preparation for one greater. What appears as a loss, a disappointment, or a delay is often the turning of attention away from the narrow path and toward a wider one. A job may end, a deal may collapse, a plan may fail, yet from that seeming emptiness a new opportunity arises, richer and more perfect than the one imagined. Faith sees beyond the surface, refusing to mourn the closing of one way, trusting that the law never subtracts without multiplying. The unexpected door opens at the precise moment needed, carrying with it the evidence that prosperity flows from the infinite, not from the limited. Prosperity has countless messengers. Sometimes it arrives as money itself, sometimes as an idea, sometimes as a person with a word, a gift, or a connection that changes everything. A thought comes in a moment of silence, a creative spark that blossoms into wealth. A conversation overheard leads to opportunity. A chance meeting becomes the channel for provision. These are not accidents but orchestrations of law, the unseen arranging the scene, aligning people and circumstances to fulfill the decree spoken in faith. The mind that insists prosperity can come only one way often overlooks these messengers, but the mind open to unexpected doors recognizes them instantly and welcomes them. The divine delights in variety. The same river may find 100 paths to the sea, bending around obstacles, splitting into tributaries, carving new courses. Prosperity works the same. If one channel is blocked, it simply flows another way, finding new doors, creating new passages, moving where there was no path before. To insist supply must arrive through one channel is to dam the river, but to release expectation and trust the law is to let the river run freely, winding as it will, always finding its way. The unexpected door is the river's proof that nothing can stop its flow. Those who cling to rigid expectations often miss the very supply they seek. They wait for money from one source, blind to the opportunities arising all around. They pray for abundance, but reject the idea that it could arrive in a new form. Faith loosens this rigidity. Faith knows that the channel is not the source, and therefore any channel can be used. Faith declares the supply secure and allows the law to choose the door. This openness makes the mind receptive, alert, ready to recognize the prosperity that may appear as an unplanned invitation, a sudden inspiration, a gift from an unlikely person, or a door that was invisible until the moment it swung wide. Often the unexpected door is perfectly timed. What appears as delay is in truth alignment. The right channel was not yet prepared, the right people were not yet in place, the right idea was not yet ripe. Then suddenly, at the appointed moment, the door opens effortlessly, and prosperity flows in such abundance that it erases the memory of waiting. The delay proves to have been part of the design, a period of preparation. Fear sees delay as denial, but faith knows delay is often divine timing. The arranging of the perfect channel so that when the door opens, everything flows smoothly and abundantly. Prosperity may also come through transformation of perception. The unexpected door may not be a new opportunity at all, but the realization that what seemed ordinary was already a channel of wealth. A skill long taken for granted reveals itself as valuable. A relationship thought casual becomes a key to success. A resource overlooked suddenly shines with potential. Faith trains the eyes to see anew, to recognize channels hidden in plain sight. Prosperity does not always arrive as something foreign. Often it is simply the unveiling of what was already present, waiting for recognition. The law of circulation ensures that what is given returns, often through channels far different from where it was sent. A gift given in one place may return multiplied from another. Help offered to one person may be rewarded through an entirely different source. Generosity opens doors unseen, setting in motion currents that circle back in unexpected ways. Fear insists the return must come from the one who received. But faith knows the return may come from any door, at any time, in greater measure than imagined. The unexpected door is often the return of a seed sown long before, blossoming suddenly into visible prosperity. The unexpected door is also the mark of freedom, the proof that one's prosperity is not dependent on any single person, employer, or circumstance. Those who believe they are bound to one channel live in fear, worried that if it closes, supply will vanish. But when the unexpected door opens, it demonstrates that the source is infinite and cannot be confined. The job, the client, the business, the investment, these are only channels. If one closes, another opens, and the flow continues. To know this truth is to live without fear, free from dependence, confident that prosperity is secure because it flows through law, not through chance. Miracles of provision often come disguised as the ordinary, yet behind them is the extraordinary orchestration of law. A bill arrives and is paid unexpectedly. A long-forgotten debt is repaid. A door thought closed forever suddenly opens. A talent once dismissed becomes the foundation of wealth. These are the signs of the unexpected door. The evidence that prosperity is not a struggle but a flow, not a chase but a reception. The law of abundance arranges channels, far beyond the mind's capacity to predict, and faith makes the heart ready to recognize them when they appear. The spoken word multiplies beyond measure, for every declaration released into the atmosphere of spirit is a seed cast into infinite soil, where it cannot fail to grow and expand. Words are not empty sounds, they are containers of vibration, charged with the energy of belief, carrying within them the pattern of the reality they describe. When a word is spoken with faith, it goes forth with creative power, joining with the unseen law that always brings forth after its kind. A single decree of prosperity, sincerely spoken, may set in motion a chain of events that multiply into streams of wealth and opportunity far beyond the scope of the original thought. Just as a single acorn holds within it an entire forest, so does a single word of truth hold within it infinite supply. The law of the spoken word is multiplication. What is spoken once may echo in the subconscious, shaping thought and action, influencing decisions, creating connections. Speak it again, and the echo grows stronger, layering impression upon impression, until the subconscious accepts it as truth. Once accepted, it reproduces the pattern outwardly, and the results appear multiplied. The law never returns void. Every word spoken is a cause, and every cause bears fruit. The harvest may not appear instantly, but the word, once sown, is already working in the invisible, germinating, expanding, preparing to manifest. When words are charged with emotion, the multiplication accelerates. Fearful words multiply fear, drawing more experiences of lack and loss. Words of faith multiply faith, drawing evidence of abundance and provision. The subconscious does not argue. It simply accepts the strongest impressions given to it. Thus the one who constantly speaks lack multiplies lack, while the one who faithfully speaks abundance multiplies abundance. The difference is not in the external conditions, but in the seed sown through the spoken word. The soil of the subconscious is fertile for both weeds and wheat. It grows what is planted, whether deliberately or carelessly. The multiplication of the spoken word is also exponential. It does not simply add, it multiplies. One declaration may influence not only the speaker, but all who hear it, planting seeds in their consciousness as well. Words of faith spoken in a household can transform the atmosphere of the entire home, lifting thought, dissolving fear, opening channels of prosperity. Words of faith spoken in a community can ripple outward, creating movements, opportunities, and connections far beyond the speaker's reach. Every declaration sends vibrations into the invisible, and those vibrations intersect with countless others, drawing together conditions that fulfill the decree. The power of multiplication is seen in the smallest examples. A simple affirmation spoken daily can transform a life completely. A phrase like, "Money flows to me freely and abundantly," may seem small. Yet when spoken with conviction, it begins to reshape the subconscious. The subconscious then directs action, influences perception, and attracts circumstances that align with the affirmation. Soon one opportunity appears, then another, until the flow becomes undeniable. The single phrase multiplies into visible wealth, not by force but by law. This is the mystery of multiplication. The smallest seed, faithfully sown, produces a harvest far greater than itself. Multiplication also follows the principle of circulation. The word spoken is like money given. It does not diminish by being released but increases. Words of blessing return as blessings multiplied. Words of gratitude return as experiences multiplied to be grateful for. Words of generosity return as channels of generosity flowing back. The one who speaks positively about money invites more of it. The one who blesses another's prosperity multiplies their own. The law is impartial. It magnifies whatever is sown. Words of envy, criticism, or complaint return multiplied in kind, just as words of faith, joy, and abundance return multiplied in their kind. The choice of word is the choice of harvest. The spoken word also sets spiritual law into motion, and spiritual law always operates through channels of multiplication. A farmer who plants one seed does not expect one grain but hundreds, perhaps thousands. Likewise, the one who speaks a single decree should not expect a single return, but a multiplied one. The law of abundance is generous, never stingy, always overflowing. The word sown into this law cannot return in small measure, it returns pressed down, shaken together, running over. This is the guarantee of multiplication, that the spoken word once released returns in greater measure than it was given. Often the multiplication appears in ways the mind could not predict. A word of faith spoken about money may return, not as cash alone, but as opportunities, relationships, ideas, and channels that ultimately produce far more wealth than imagined. The mind may expect a certain result, but the law always exceeds expectation, returning not just what was spoken but multiplied, expanded, magnified. The unexpectedness of the return is part of the proof that the spoken word has power, for the result often arrives by means the intellect could never have devised. The atmosphere created by words also multiplies. A person who speaks abundance consistently develops an aura of prosperity. Others sense it, often unconsciously, and are drawn to them. They are offered opportunities, entrusted with responsibility, included in ventures. This atmosphere is itself the product of multiplied words, each declaration building upon the last, creating a vibration so strong that it radiates outward. The spoken word thus not only multiplies into circumstances but into presence, shaping how others perceive and respond, which in turn creates more opportunities for prosperity to flow. The principle of multiplication can be seen in reverse as well, which is why careless words are so costly. To say, "I cannot afford it," plants a seed of lack that may multiply into many experiences of shortage. To declare, "Money is hard to get," plants a seed that may multiply into endless struggle. The law does not judge, it multiplies impartially. It brings forth whatever is sown. This is why faith must guide the tongue, why the word must be watched carefully, why the decree must be aligned with truth. Every word multiplies, and the harvest will always match the seed. The multiplication of the spoken word is infinite, because it draws not only from personal consciousness, but from the infinite reservoir of divine mind. Words are not merely personal affirmations, they are alignments with universal principles. When one speaks abundance, they are not creating abundance out of nothing, they are opening themselves to the infinite abundance already present. The word multiplies because it taps into infinity, and infinity cannot be exhausted. The more it is spoken, the more it flows, the more it expands, for the source has no limit. Would you like me to weave even more imagery of seed, harvest, and scriptural echoes into this keynote to stretch it fully to a 1,000+ word density, or keep the current rhythm consistent with the earlier expansions?
Beloved soul, you are never unprotected. You are never alone. At this very moment, unseen light surrounds you, a radiant armor woven from divine love, faith, and peace. You walk in the presence of infinite intelligence, and that presence goes before you, preparing your path, clearing your way, and dissolving all danger before you even arrive. The world may speak of fear, but divine law speaks of protection. Fear says, "What if something happens?" Faith says, "Nothing can touch me unless it carries God's permission and purpose." And when your faith becomes your fortress, nothing in the world can pierce your peace. Say softly, "I am surrounded by divine light. I am safe. I am guided. I am protected in all that I do." Protection is not about hiding, it is about remembering. When you remember who you are, a spark of the infinite, a child of divine substance, fear loses its grip. No weapon formed against you can prosper, because in divine consciousness, there are no weapons, only illusions of fear trying to be believed. Say with quiet confidence, "I do not fear. I remember my source. I live under grace and in perfect love." The law of protection is the law of awareness. What you are aware of, you invite. If you are aware of light, light meets you. If you are aware of fear, fear approaches. And so each morning, you are called to declare your awareness of divine safety, not as a ritual, but as a remembrance. Before you leave your home, before you take a step into the world, say within your heart, "Divine love goes before me, making safe, joyous, and successful my way. I am invisible to all harm. I am visible only to good." Feel the energy of those words wrap around you like golden light. This light is not imagination, it is energy. It is law. It is the same light that guided Moses through the Red Sea, that surrounded Daniel in the lion's den, that walked beside the Christ in the storm. That same presence now walks beside you. There is nothing to fear when you know this truth. You are not at the mercy of circumstance. You are under divine order. You are not a victim of energy. You are the vibration of divine protection itself. Say it aloud, "I am the vibration of divine protection. I walk in peace. I rest in safety. I dwell in the secret place of the Most High." Every day brings you into contact with energy, words, thoughts, emotions, from people and places. Some are bright and kind, others heavy and confused. But none of it can cling to you if your spirit is anchored in light. You do not need to fight darkness, you only need to stay aware of your own light. Light dissolves shadow without effort. The truth is simple, you are safest when you are peaceful. Peace is not weakness, peace is power. Peace is the frequency of divine protection, and when your vibration remains peaceful, you rise above confusion, chaos, and danger. Say softly, "My peace protects me, my peace guides me. My peace is my proof that divine order is at work." When you begin your day with fear, you open your energy to accidents and anxiety. But when you begin your day with faith, you open your energy to safety and success. Divine protection is not luck. It is alignment. It is knowing that wherever you go, divine intelligence has already gone before you. There are unseen hands that guide your steps. There are unseen angels that stand guard at your doors. There is unseen order in everything that seems uncertain. The same power that keeps the stars from colliding keeps your path secure. Say with gratitude, "Thank you, divine source, that I am protected in all ways always. No harm can enter my field, for my field is filled with love. Every word you speak creates your world, so let your words be shields of light. When you say, I am protected, heaven agrees. When you say, nothing can harm me, angels align. When you say, divine love goes before me, roads open, storms still, and peace walks beside you. Do not let your mind dwell on danger, dwell on deliverance. Do not let your heart entertain fear, entertain faith. For faith is the atmosphere in which protection thrives. Say now, I walk by faith, not by fear. I walk by light, not by sight. I walk in divine confidence, for I am divinely protected. And when worry tries to whisper, remember this truth. Worry is the prayer of fear. Faith is the prayer of love. Pray love. Speak love. Live love. When you say, nothing can harm me, it is not arrogance. It is alignment. You are aligning yourself with the eternal law that love protects its own. See yourself now surrounded by white, gold light. It covers your home, your loved ones, your plans, your dreams. Every word you have spoken in faith has become a wall of radiance around your life. This wall is not made of stone, it is made of truth, and truth cannot be broken. Say again, I live in truth. I live in love. Therefore, I live in perfect safety. This is daily spiritual protection, not superstition, but spiritual science. You do not need to watch the shadows when you walk with the sun, and you do not need to fear darkness when you carry light. So walk in peace, beloved soul. You are surrounded, supplied, supported, and secured by divine law. Nothing can touch the child of God. Nothing can enter the field of light except love. Repeat it as your declaration. I am surrounded by divine love. I am protected by divine power. I am guided by divine wisdom. Every step I take is safe. Every path I walk is blessed. And so it is. And so it continues. Every morning, every moment, under grace and in perfect protection. Beloved soul, the word you speak is your wand. It is not a whisper into air. It is a command into creation. Every word is energy, clothed in sound, charged with power, and set free to perform its purpose. And when you understand this, you begin to build your protection not from fear, but from faith. For your words form the armor that nothing of darkness can pierce. Say softly, my words are my armor, my speech is my shield. Every word I speak is clothed in divine power. When you speak with love, you are covered in light. When you speak with fear, you open your door to confusion. That is why divine law teaches, by your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. Your speech decides your shield. Many walk unprotected, not because they lack prayer, but because they lack awareness of their spoken word. They say, I'm afraid. They say, bad things always happen to me. And the universe, hearing them, obeys. For the law does not discriminate between joke and judgment. It only fulfills what is declared with emotion. But the awakened soul speaks differently. The awakened soul says, I am divinely guided. I am safe in every direction. No harm can touch me, for my words are light. Say that now with conviction, my words are light. My words go before me and prepare my way. My words guard my home, protect my body, and bless my path. Each morning, you can put on this invisible armor through speech. It is simple, powerful, eternal. When you rise, declare, divine love goes before me today and makes easy, joyous, and safe my way. That single sentence becomes an energetic wall of light. No negative force can enter a field surrounded by love. The words of fear attract what they name. The words of faith attract what they expect. So speak not of what you dread. Speak only of what you desire. Say not, I don't want trouble, but I walk in peace. Say not, I hope nothing bad happens, but all things work together for my good. Your word is law. The moment you speak in faith, the universe rearranges itself to obey you. For divine power flows through the human tongue like current through wire. Your mouth is the gateway of miracles. Say it slowly. My words carry the vibration of peace. My words carry the frequency of love. My words carry the authority of divine law. When you speak protection over your life, it is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual engineering. Every affirmation builds a structure in the unseen realm. Every declaration becomes a wall of radiant energy around you. You may not see it, but creation sees it. You may not feel it instantly, but life begins to move according to it. Think of a soldier. They do not go to battle without armor. You, too, enter the world daily where thoughts, energies, and words fly like arrows. But your armor is invisible and invincible. It is the vibration of your speech. Every "I am safe" deflects fear. Every "I am loved" dissolves hostility. "I am guided" redirects danger. Say softly, "My words are my weapon and my peace. I speak light, therefore I live in light." Remember this divine secret. Silence has power, but speech has direction. Silence holds energy, but words send it forth. So when you speak, speak deliberately. Let no idle word leave your lips. Every careless word leaks energy. Every conscious word reinforces your protection. When you bless your day blesses you. When you bless your home becomes a temple. When you bless your money multiplies. Blessing is not habit, it is command. To bless means to call something into divine order. Say now, "I bless my life. I bless my body. I bless my surroundings. I bless all who come near me with peace and goodwill." And in that moment, heaven responds. Even those who wish you harm are disarmed by invisible love. For no negative word can penetrate a field of divine blessing. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn taught, "Your word is your sword." A sword cuts through illusion. When you declare truth, it slices through fear. When you affirm love, it severs the roots of worry. When you speak prosperity, it cuts away limitation. You are never defenseless. Your speech is your defense. Every "I am" is a decree. Every "I will" is a creation. Every "I trust" is a command to the unseen forces of good. Say gently, "I now speak words of divine protection." Every sound that leaves my lips carries light. My words are guided by divine intelligence and backed by spiritual law. Even in silence, your inner words create. So monitor your thought, speech as carefully as your verbal speech. For a thought repeated becomes vibration, and vibration becomes form. This is why you must choose words of strength, not sorrow, of certainty, not confusion. When your inner dialogue says, "I am safe," your outer world reflects it. When your inner voice says, "I am loved," even strangers treat you kindly. When your inner world says, "I am light," no darkness can enter. Say this as a morning decree: divine love surrounds me, divine light protects me, divine power guards me, divine wisdom guides me. I am safe, I am loved, I am secure in all ways. Let those words echo in your heart throughout the day. They will not only protect you, they will direct you. They will lead you away from danger and toward destiny. They will keep your vibration high and your path clear. Remember, you do not need to beg for protection. You simply need to declare it. You are not pleading with God to save you. You are agreeing with God that you are already safe. That is the difference between fear and faith. Say with divine authority, "I decree protection over my mind, my body, my spirit, my home, my path. Nothing of fear can touch me. Nothing of harm can find me. My word is law, and my law is love." You are speaking from the throne of divine consciousness. Your words are not small. They move substance. They travel into the invisible and return with visible proof. Each sentence spoken in love builds another layer of light around your life, and soon you will feel it. That calm assurance that wherever you go, you are wrapped in something unseen yet unmistakably real. That is the armor of words. Say one last time, "My words are clothed in light. My speech is protected by grace. Every word I speak builds a wall of divine peace around me. I am safe, I am strong, I am surrounded by love." And so it is, and so it continues, as divine law made manifest through your spoken word. Beloved soul, every day you walk through energies. Some are bright with joy, others are heavy with fear. If you do not cleanse yourself spiritually, those vibrations begin to cling. Not because they are stronger than you, but because you forgot to release them. Divine protection is not only a shield, it is a flow. When energy stagnates, fear hides within it. But when you cleanse, forgive, and bless, all heaviness dissolves, and your light expands again. Say softly, I am cleansed by divine love. I am washed in light. All heaviness now leaves my mind, my heart, my home, and my life. Fear is not real power. It is simply faith inverted. Belief in what you do not want instead of what you desire. And the moment you return your attention to divine love, fear fades like fog before the sunrise. You do not fight fear, you outshine it. You do not battle darkness, you turn on the light. You do not argue with negativity, you bless it into silence. Say with calm authority, all fear is dissolved in divine love. Every thought not of peace now melts away. My field is pure. My heart is clean. My life is filled with light. Every word of worry, every memory of pain, every hidden resentment carries energy. If you hold on to it, it colors your vibration. But when you release it through love, forgiveness, and gratitude, your energy becomes radiant again. Forgiveness is the first cleansing power. To forgive does not mean to agree with what happened. It means to free yourself from it. Every time you say, I forgive, you open the windows of your soul and let divine light pour in. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the highest strength. Say softly, I forgive everyone and everything. I forgive myself completely. I release all blame, and I am free. Now feel how your energy lifts. Forgiveness clears the air of your inner home. Resentment cannot breathe in love's atmosphere. Gratitude is the second cleansing power. Gratitude transforms what is heavy into holy. It takes what was meant for harm and turns it into wisdom. When you say thank you, for even small things, the divine multiplies them. Gratitude is light, and where there is light, no shadow can stay. Say gently, I am thankful for this moment. I am thankful for the lessons that brought me here. I am thankful for the divine love that always protects me. Even your home carries energy. So each morning or evening, speak blessing into your space. Walk through your rooms and say, this home is filled with light. Every corner glows with peace. Every wall reflects divine love. No negativity can enter here. And as you speak, energy responds. Your home becomes a temple. Your atmosphere becomes your sanctuary. Fear cannot survive where love is spoken daily. Sometimes, you may feel tired or heavy without reason. That is only the world's vibration brushing against yours. It cannot stay unless you invite it. So the moment you notice it, stop and affirms, I release what is not mine. I am pure light. I am filled with peace. I am surrounded by divine protection now. Fear always disguises itself as logic, but divine wisdom knows better. Fear says, be careful. The world is dangerous. Faith says, be calm. God is present. When you remember that divine presence is here, fear dissolves instantly. Breathe deeply and say, I breathe in peace. I breathe out fear. I breathe in faith. I breathe out doubt. I breathe in divine light. I breathe out all that no longer serves me. This is how you cleanse daily, not through struggle, but through remembrance. Every breath can be a prayer. Every word can be a blessing. Every moment can be a reset. And when people around you carry anger, gossip, or fear, you do not need to absorb it. You can bless them silently. Say within yourself, I send them light. I remain in peace. Their energy cannot enter my field. For love is not a reaction, it is creation. And your love creates a protective barrier stronger than any wall. You are not responsible for other people's darkness, but you are responsible for maintaining your own light. And when your light shines, it becomes contagious. It uplifts others without effort. So each night before you rest, cleans again. Say, I release this day into divine hands. I forgive all. I bless all. I am renewed by peace. I sleep within the circle of divine love, and you will feel the air around you grow softer, the atmosphere lighter, your dreams calm and filled with guidance. Negativity cannot live in a heart that blesses. Fear cannot find a door in a home filled with prayer. Darkness cannot remain where love is repeated. Say gently, I am love. I am light. I am divine protection in motion. All that is not of God now leaves me forever. You are becoming untouchable not by hardness, but by holiness. You are learning that protection is not about walls. It is about waves of love moving through you and around you. This is your daily cleansing. Forgive, bless, thank, and release. The simple rhythm of the universe itself. Each time you do, your vibration rises. Each time you rise, the world rearranges to match your peace. Say one last time, I am cleansed by divine love. I am filled with divine peace. I am surrounded by divine light. Fear has no place in me, for I am one with God, now and forever. And so it is. And so it continues, pure, peaceful, and perfect, under grace and in divine protection. Beloved soul, nothing protects you more completely than the quiet certainty of faith. Faith is the invisible fortress, built without bricks and guarded without fear. Stillness is the gate that keeps confusion outside and peace within. When you are still inside, the world cannot touch you. When your heart is calm, you are beyond the reach of chaos. It is not the noise around you that creates danger. It is the noise within. And the moment you still that inner storm, divine law takes command. Say softly, my calm is my protection. My faith is my shield. My peace surrounds me like light. Fear rushes. Faith rests. Fear shouts. Faith whispers. Fear reacts. Faith remembers. In stillness, you remember that everything real is eternal and everything frightening is temporary. The universe moves in rhythm with your inner world. When you hurry, it mirrors haste. When you rest in trust, it mirrors grace. The secret of protection is therefore not resistance. It is relaxation in divine order. Say gently, I relax into divine order. I trust that every step I take is guided. Every path I walk is safe. Every outcome is already blessed. You are not protected because you fight. You are protected because you know. You are not safe because you hide. You are safe because you remember who walks beside you. The divine presence that created the stars holds your every breath. Close your eyes for a moment and feel it. There is no gap between you and God. There is no distance between your need and its supply. The same power that turns night into dawn is working quietly in your favor. Faith is not pretending. Faith is perceiving what the senses cannot yet see. It is the calm awareness that says, even this is under grace. And when you live that way, protection becomes natural, effortless, constant. Say aloud, I walk by faith, not by fear. I walk in peace, not in pressure. I walk in divine confidence, for infinite intelligence governs my steps. When fear comes knocking, do not answer the door with panic. Answer with praise. Say, peace be still, and the vibration changes instantly. The energy of peace is recognized by the universe as divine authority. You have seen the ocean after a storm. Once the surface calms, the depth returns to silence. So it is with you. When your surface mind quiets, your spiritual depth governs again. Each breath is a key to stillness. Breathe in faith, breathe out tension. Breathe in peace, breathe out worry. With every breath, your aura becomes clearer, your protection stronger. Say softly, I breathe in divine love. I breathe out all fear. I breathe in calm assurance. I breathe out every doubt. Faith is the atmosphere of miracles. Stillness is the doorway through which they enter. In quietness, divine ideas reach you easily. Guidance that keeps you safe. Timing that prevents mistakes. Intuition that whispers, go now, or wait here. Trust those inner signals. They are the language of protection. When you are agitated, you cannot hear them. When you are still, You hear everything. Remember, the universe does not protect through force. It protects through flow. When you push, you step out of rhythm. When you trust, you are carried. Say gently, I am carried by divine flow. I do not push against life. Life supports me perfectly. The ego says, I must control. Spirit says, I am guided. The ego fears outcomes. Spirit knows all outcomes are divine. Your work is not to defend yourself. It is to maintain your vibration. A peaceful mind is a fortress. A grateful heart is its gate. Keep gratitude open and fear has no entrance. Say with faith, gratitude surrounds me like a wall of light. Peace fills me like a river. Nothing unloving can cross my field. Even when storms appear, stay still inside. The outer may shake, but the inner stays anchored. Say, this too shall pass, for divine order never fails. And it will pass, always. Do not let headlines or opinions dictate your peace. You are not of the world's vibration. You are of divine frequency. You are tuned to a station called love, and love cannot be harmed. Repeat slowly, I dwell in divine love. I rest in divine peace. I live under divine protection, now and always. Every morning, center yourself in stillness before touching the noise of the world. And every night, return to it before sleep. It will become your atmosphere, your unseen sanctuary. For the soul anchored in faith cannot fall. The heart anchored in stillness cannot be shaken. The mind anchored in divine love cannot be touched by fear. You are safe, not because you hope to be, but because you already are. Safety is your natural state. Faith simply reveals it. Say one final time, I am calm, I am confident, I am protected. Divine peace surrounds me, divine power sustains me, divine love guards me. All is well, and all will always be well. And so it is, and so it continues. Quietly, powerfully, perfectly, under grace and in divine protection. Beloved soul, you live among many energies. Each day, you meet souls carrying their own weather, some radiant with joy, others clouded with fear. You cannot control the storms that others carry, but you can choose whether they rain upon your spirit. The wise do not harden, they harmonize. They stay open in love but covered in light. Say softly, I am kind, yet guarded in divine wisdom. I am open, yet protected by love. No outside energy can disturb my peace. You do not protect yourself by closing your heart. You protect yourself by expanding your light so fully that nothing unloving can enter. When your vibration is strong, low energy cannot match it. It simply falls away. This is the gentle power of spiritual immunity. You do not fight darkness, you outshine it. In every environment, remember you are the thermostat, not the thermometer. You set the atmosphere, you do not absorb it. When you walk into a room, let your peace lead. Let your light speak before your words do. Say gently, my energy is sovereign. My light fills every space I enter. I am the peace that changes atmospheres. Sometimes you may feel tired or heavy after being around others. Do not judge yourself. Simply cleanse with love. Whisper, I release what is not mine. I bless every soul and return to peace. Instantly the energy lifts, for love does not cling, it clears. You are not here to fix anyone's vibration. You are here to maintain your own. When you stay centered, you become a silent teacher of balance. Those around you begin to calm, not because you speak loudly, but because your presence reminds them of peace. Say softly, I carry peace within me, and peace radiates around me. I am a blessing wherever I go, and I am always protected by divine love. There will always be voices that complain, energies that gossip, or spaces that feel tense. But divine law says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That includes words, thoughts, or emotions directed in envy or anger. None of it can find you when you are anchored in love. When someone speaks in negativity, bless them silently. Say within, divine love is at work in this soul. Peace now fills this situation, and let it go. You are not responsible for healing their fear, only for protecting your faith. Energy moves by permission. It can only enter your field if you agree with it. So never agree with fear, insult, or limitation. When someone says, "You're unlucky," you silently say, "I am divinely favored." When someone says, "Times are hard," you affirm, "I live under grace, not under struggle," and thus the vibration never sticks. Say it aloud now. Nothing negative can attach to me, for I do not agree with it. I only agree with love, peace, and divine supply. If ever you must go into a place that feels heavy, perhaps a workplace, a crowd, or a situation of tension, prepare first in spirit. Visualize yourself surrounded by golden light, extending 6 feet around your body like a soft, radiant aura. Then affirm, "I am clothed in divine light. Wherever I go, this light precedes me, protects me, and harmonizes all things in my path." You will feel the difference. The air changes, people become calmer, events align in your favor. That is not imagination, that is spiritual law in action. Even when negativity is directed toward you deliberately, you do not need to defend. You only need to bless. Blessing breaks the vibration instantly. Say, "I bless this situation with divine love. I release it to higher law." You will feel a weight lift, because love dissolves what ego tries to hold. Beloved, remember, boundaries are not fear, they are wisdom. Even divine love uses discernment. You can be gentle yet firm, kind yet clear. When something or someone drains your peace, you are allowed to step back with grace. Say within, "I choose peace over pleasing. I choose alignment over obligation. I am free to protect my energy with divine wisdom." Your time, your attention, your vibration are sacred. Spend them where peace grows, not where fear multiplies. You owe no one access to your light who only wishes to dim it. You are here to shine, not to shrink. Say softly, "My peace is sacred. My energy is protected. My presence blesses the world without being drained by it." Even environments can carry residue of old emotions, offices, hospitals, cities, or homes. When you enter such places, silently bless them. Say, "Divine light fills this space. All fear and sadness dissolve in love. Peace reigns here now." Your presence will change the frequency. For wherever a child of God walks in awareness, that place becomes holy ground. You are the walking temple of divine energy. When your aura is clear, you are untouchable by harm. Negativity cannot survive in your field, because your light refuses to feed it. Say gently, "I am surrounded by divine fire. Only love can touch me, only peace can dwell with me, only light can find me." And when the day ends, release all energy back to source. Before sleep, say, "I return all borrowed energy to its divine origin. I reclaim all my power cleansed in love. I rest in peace and wake renewed in light." Nothing remains heavy when you speak such truth. For the divine law of energy says only love is real. Everything else dissolves. You are safe in all places because you are aware in all moments. Your awareness of love is your shield. Your faith is your filter. Your peace is your power. Say once more, "I am untouchable in my peace. I am invisible to harm. I am radiant in love. Wherever I go, divine protection goes before me." And so it is. And so it continues, gently, powerfully, eternally, under grace and in perfect divine order. Beloved soul, divine protection does not only surround you, it speaks through you. It is not only a wall of light, it is a voice of wisdom within that guides your every step. That voice is quiet, calm, and sure. It never rushes, never fears, never condemns. It simply knows. And when you learn to listen to it, you walk through life like one guided by an unseen hand. Say softly, "I am guided by divine intelligence. I hear the voice of God clearly. I am always in the right place at the right time." Every moment, infinite intelligence is speaking, through thoughts, feelings, signs, and timing. It may arrive as a gentle nudge. Turn left instead of right. It may come as a delay that saves you from harm. It may appear as a sudden peace when you think of one choice, and an unease when you think of another. That is divine intuition. your inner compass of protection. You were never meant to guess your way through life. The same power that created worlds walks with you, whispering your next step. You need only be still enough to listen. Say gently, I am receptive to divine direction. I do not rush, I allow divine wisdom to lead me. When fear shouts, intuition is drowned. When faith listens, intuition speaks. That is why peace is the atmosphere where guidance can be heard. You cannot hear the music of the divine if your mind is filled with noise. So silence is not emptiness, it is alignment. Many call it instinct. Florence called it divine leadings. You feel it as a pull, a knowing, a quiet yes or no. And when you honor it, protection unfolds like a golden path before your feet. Say softly, I trust my divine guidance. My intuition is the voice of God within me. I hear clearly, I move wisely, I walk safely. When you ignore that still voice, confusion increases. But when you obey it, miracles follow. Sometimes divine protection delays you to protect you. Sometimes it reroutes you to bless you. Sometimes it closes one door so that you may find the right one easily. The ego calls it frustration, the soul calls it favor. You are never late, never lost, never forgotten, only guided. Every seeming detour is divine timing at work. When you walk by faith, you never miss your turn. Say with gratitude, divine timing is my friend. Divine guidance is my constant companion. Every delay is protection. Every redirection is grace. The more you trust this guidance, the clearer it becomes. Like tuning a radio to a higher frequency, the more peace you hold, the louder the divine signal gets. Soon you will realize that nothing surprises you anymore. You sense everything before it happens. You will walk through your days with quiet assurance, saying, I feel it, I know it, I am led. And that is divine protection in its highest form. Intuitive awareness guided by love. There is a prayer Florence once spoke. Infinite Spirit, open the way for my immediate supply. Let every plan of evil be reversed in my favor. Let every obstacle become a stepping stone. I am divinely protected, divinely guided, divinely prospered. This prayer works because it acknowledges that nothing happens to you. It happens for you. Say softly, I am divinely guided to safety, success, and peace. I cannot miss what is mine. I cannot lose what is meant for me. When confusion tries to enter, pause and ask, does this feel peaceful? If peace speaks, move. If it does not, wait. Peace is your compass. God never guides through fear. Fear says, hurry. Faith says, rest. It's handled. Your spiritual protection is intelligent. It does not always remove challenge. Sometimes it redirects energy so you grow wiser, stronger, and safer next time. Nothing is random in divine order. Everything is perfectly placed. Say now, everything in my life is divinely arranged. I am at peace with divine timing. I trust my intuition completely. Even in uncertain situations, your inner voice never fails you. If you ever feel uneasy, do not dismiss it. That is your soul's alarm bell ringing softly. You may not know why at the time, but divine protection always explains itself later. You will look back and say, something told me not to go there. That something was someone. Infinite intelligence watching over you. You can also invite guidance through simple affirmation each morning. Infinite Spirit, open my mind to receive divine instruction. Guide my every thought, word, and action. Let me move only when you move. When you begin your day like this, every choice becomes protected by wisdom. You will find yourself calling at the right time, meeting the right person, taking the right turn, saying the right words. And all of it feels effortless. That is divine protection operating through divine guidance. Say with peace, I am divinely directed. I am never alone. I am guided by perfect intelligence that knows the way and keeps me safe. Even in times of confusion, say, Infinite Spirit, make the way clear. Then stop thinking and listen. The answer will come quietly, a word, a thought, a feeling, a sign. It will come when you are calm, never when you are frantic. The universe does not shout, it whispers. Beloved, divine guidance is not rare. It is constant. You do not need to chase it, you need only clear the noise that blocks it. That noise is fear, doubt, worry. The clearing is faith, silence, gratitude. Say softly, I am quiet, therefore I can hear. I am faithful, therefore I am led. I am peaceful, therefore I am protected. And when you follow that inner voice, everything aligns, timing, people, places, and outcomes. Life becomes smoother because you are no longer steering alone. You are driving with the infinite. And divine intelligence never makes a wrong turn. Repeat this daily truth: I am guided, guarded, and governed by divine love. Every step I take is directed. Every move I make is protected. I walk in wisdom and I arrive in peace. You are not guessing your path anymore. You are gliding through divine order. And that is the safest place you will ever be. Say one last time, I am one with divine intelligence. I hear clearly, I act wisely, I move safely. My intuition is my protection and my peace is my proof. And so it is, and so it continues, quietly, perfectly, and forever under grace and divine guidance. Beloved soul, protection is not an event. It is a way of being. It is not a moment of prayer. It is a vibration you carry as you walk through life. You are not protected because you say one affirmation. You are protected because you live in the consciousness of divine love every day. Every morning you awaken, divine light greets you. It says, here I am again, pure, ready, strong. Let's begin. And your first thought becomes your shield for the day. If you begin with gratitude, you open the gates of grace. If you begin with fear, you open the door to confusion. So choose gratitude first. Say softly, I begin this day in divine love. I am guided, protected, and blessed in all that I do. Love is the truest form of protection, because love dissolves everything that is not like itself. When you walk in love, no anger can reach you, no hate can harm you, no jealousy can stay near you. Love neutralizes every lesser vibration. It transforms attack into understanding, envy into admiration, fear into peace. Say gently, I walk in love, and love walks in me. I am surrounded by love, therefore I am surrounded by safety. Each day you move through the world as a carrier of energy. You are not here to absorb, you are here to radiate. Your light does not depend on the weather of the world. It shines because it is divine. The more love you radiate, the more protection surrounds you. The more gratitude you express, the more abundance follows you. The more peace you hold, the more heaven lives within you. Say quietly, I radiate peace. I radiate gratitude. I radiate divine light wherever I go. The great secret is this: protection is not defense. It is divine presence. You do not have to hide from darkness. You simply remember who you are. You are the light of God in human form. When you walk in awareness of that truth, fear cannot recognize you. You are invisible to harm because your energy is transparent to love. Say softly, only love can find me. Only peace can reach me. Only blessings can touch my life. When you wake, see yourself covered in white gold light, pure, bright, gentle, and alive. Let it extend through your home, your work, your family, your future. This is not imagination. This is creation. Every thought of love is a brushstroke on the canvas of divine protection. Before you step into your day, say, divine light goes before me. Divine love surrounds me. Divine power sustains me. Divine wisdom guides me. Then go forward knowing you are covered, supplied, and secure. Throughout the day, when tension rises or fear tries to whisper, stop for a moment. Take a breath and return to the truth. You can say quietly, peace, be still. And at once, the vibration shifts. Because peace obeys those who speak it. Say softly, peace goes before me. Peace surrounds me. Peace follows me. I am the vibration of divine calm. As evening comes, give thanks for every moment of protection that unfolded silently, the accidents avoided, the calm you kept, the gentle timing that worked in your favor. Nothing was coincidence. It was divine order in motion. Say with gratitude, "Thank you, Infinite Spirit, for guiding me today. Thank you for unseen help and constant grace. Thank you that I am always safe, always loved, always free." When you sleep, rest in that awareness. Your body sleeps, but your spirit stays awake in divine harmony. Even in dreams, love watches over you. You are never unguarded. You are never unprotected. You are wrapped in light from which you were created. And when a new day dawns, you rise again within that same light, renewed, restored, and ready to shine. For divine protection never takes a day off. It is not something you earn, it is something you remember. Say gently, "I live in remembrance of who I am, a soul of light, a vessel of love, a being of infinite peace." When others worry, you remain calm. When others argue, you remain silent in strength. When others fear, you respond with faith. For you are not reacting to the world anymore. You are radiating heaven. You are now the calm in the chaos, the blessing in the crowd, the light in the room. And that light itself protects you. Because love always returns to its source, and you are that source made visible. Say softly, "I am light. I am love. I am divine protection in motion. Nothing can disturb the peace of my soul." Now imagine your life covered in waves of golden light extending in every direction. Past, present, and future. Like sunlight through water. That is the power of divine consciousness surrounding you at all times. You are safe in it, you are supported by it, and you are sustained through it. Every prayer you've spoken, every affirmation you've repeated, has built an unbreakable wall of peace around your life. And this peace goes with you wherever you go. Not just for today, but forever. Say one final time, "I live in light, I walk in love, I move in peace. I am forever protected, forever guided, forever blessed. Under grace and in perfect divine order, it is done." And so it is, and so it continues. Not as words, but as the very vibration of your being. You are the light, and the light is always safe.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're gently stepping back into the wisdom of Florence Scovel Shinn. We're exploring this really pivotal choice she talked about. The choice between kind of passively waiting for life to happen to us, or instead actively remembering the incredible power we actually hold to command our own reality. So if you're feeling maybe a bit tired, perhaps a little overwhelmed by everything going on, or maybe you're just looking for a clearer, more peaceful way forward, well, this deep dive is really for you. We want to bring some clarity, some calm, and explore how her principles can, light the way through challenges, emotional, even financial ones, with grace.
Yeah, and what's so compelling, I think, about Florence's work is she wasn't just sharing abstract ideas. These were truths she lived. She actually proved them in her own life, transforming really profound loss and rejection into this deep wisdom that honestly still resonates so much today. Her core understanding was simple but so powerful. Our inner world, that's always the cause, and the outer world we experience is just the effect, period. Getting that is really the key, isn't it? To shifting from just reacting to life to consciously creating it. So we'll unpack what it truly means to step out of that waiting mode and into, well, remembering.
Okay, right. Let's dive into that core idea then. Which path are you on, like right now? Are you, maybe without even realizing it, on that path of waiting? Or are you stepping onto the path of remembering? Florence painted such a clear picture of the woman who waits. She described her as someone who's kind of hoping life will give her permission for things. Almost like a spectator to her own power. Always looking outside for signs or validation. Her energy feels like quiet negotiation, almost apologizing for being there. It's that feeling of contraction, isn't it? Shoulders maybe a bit rounded, shallow breath, like she's worried about asking for too much or even just asking for what's rightfully hers.
hmm And then you contrast that, and it's a completely different reality, isn't it? The woman who remembers walks this entirely different path. She gets that the universe doesn't lead her, it responds to her. So it's not about looking for power out there. She knows there's no power greater than the divine intelligence, that spark within her. And she uses that inner wisdom, that guidance, to give life its instructions. Her posture isn't apology, it's expansion. You can almost picture it. Long, straight spine, deep breath, open heart. There's this quiet, self assured authority. It's not arrogance, not at all. It's just
Yeah.
Well, it's like a queen in her own domain, knowing her worth, knowing her place.
That difference feels so tangible when you describe it like that. So the question for you listening right now is, what does this mean for you if you really tune in just for a moment? What posture have you been speaking from lately? Thinking from, creating from? Just feel that in your body. I mean, I know I've definitely been in both places at different times, and wow, the shift is, it's profound when you notice it.
And this brings up such an important point about our words, doesn't it? If you truly, truly grasped the immense power of your conscious speech, every single word you say, every thought you hold on to, you'd probably never carelessly say, I can't again. You wouldn't describe your life using words soaked in struggle or lack, because Florence taught that, talking about the problem, going over and over. It's like feeding it energy. You're literally giving it life. That's why she said, guard your mind like you'd guard your home. Protect it, because every word, every thought, it's like a seed being planted in that fertile ground of your subconscious.
Right. And here's where it gets really fascinating and maybe even a little challenging to how we usually think. Florence taught that you're not really here just to wish for things or even just to hope. You are here to remember. And that dream, the thing living quietly or maybe really loudly inside your heart, it's not just some random fantasy, or a fleeting idea. She actually called it a spiritual assignment, like a divine breadcrumb from the highest part of you, almost asking, hey, will you let me unfold through you? Will you give me expression? And so your desire, that deep longing, it isn't a distraction from your path. It is your path. It's destiny calling. And to deny it, to push it down, well, that's kind of denying the impulse of life itself, which is always seeking fuller expression through us. It's a subtle shift, but oh, so crucial. Florence wasn't teaching people to like chase desires frantically, not in an ego driven way anyway. Instead, she taught them how to command their reality. And that comes from unwavering internal alignment. See, the thing you truly desire, it actually already exists. It's there in the invisible realm of spirit, a perfect blueprint just waiting. So your main job isn't really creating it from nothing. It's about preparing a space for it inside yourself. And that means, yeah, doing the work of clearing out those inner blocks, the doubts that creep in, the fears, those old feelings of unworthiness. We all have them. Think about anyone you admire, anyone successful in their own way. They all had to cross that line, didn't they? That threshold from maybe from doubt into, yes, this is happening, into decision. Let's make this really concrete. Think about a modern example. Someone like Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. I mean, before she became this huge success story, a billionaire. She was selling fax machines. Literally door to door. She didn't have formal business training, no big connections. The world wasn't exactly screaming, you're going to succeed at her. No external signs.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating there is she wasn't looking to the world for signs. She wasn't waiting for them. She generated the sign from within. That's the key difference. So while her outer reality was, yeah, fax machines and maybe rejections, her inner world, her inner posture was already that of a successful, innovative founder. She had what Florence called active faith. It wasn't passive hope, it was active. So when she was creating Spanx, her deep inner knowing, her decision wasn't just, I hope people like this. It was more like, they are ready for this. This will serve them. See the difference? That's not just optimism. That's operating from spiritual law. That conviction that what's held clearly in mind must come forth.
Hmm. She didn't wait for life to give her permission or validate her idea. She decided who she was first, internally. And then life, well, it had to respond, didn't it? I mean, when experienced investors literally laughed at her idea, she didn't take on their doubt. She didn't make it her own reality. She just held steady in her knowing. And when stores turned her away initially, she didn't collapse into rejection. She saw it as like divine redirection. Okay, not this store, must be a better one. Fun. This just perfectly illustrates Florence's point. Your subconscious mind, it doesn't really care about external proof. It responds to your internal posture, that deep conviction you carry inside.
It's a great analogy Florence used. Think of your subconscious mind like a dark room. Every thought, negative, and by negative, she just meant the mental image or belief, like a photo negative, that you feed it. It gets developed into a perfect physical print in your life. And the subconscious, it doesn't judge the image you give it, it just processes, it manifests. So if you consistently hand it images of lack, struggle, not enough, well, it dutifully produces lack in your experience. But if you consistently, persistently hand it clear, vibrant images of wholeness, abundance, success, whatever it is you're aiming for, it will work tirelessly to bring that into form for you. So your job isn't to force the outcome or manipulate things on the outside. It's to provide those clear, consistent negatives, those clear inner images and feelings. Florence used to say, acting as if isn't about being fake or pretending. Not at all. It's about preparing. It's rehearsing the feeling of it already being true. It's sending a clear, unmistakable signal to your own inner world and the universe that you are ready.
So, thinking about all this, what's really stopping you right now from taking that step? That step into clear decision? Is it maybe that old story? You know the one, the familiar loop. Or maybe it's that little voice of doubt whispering, who are you to ask for this? Really? Do you deserve it? I really want you to hear this. That voice. That's not your truth. It's not who you really are. It's just an old program, an outdated belief system.
Okay.
And it's rain. It's over. Now. This moment right here, listening to this can be your turning point. Decide. And I mean really decide. Not a soft wish, not a maybe someday hope. A firm, unwavering command from the core of your being. Decide your vision is already a fact in the unseen. Decide your word is law in your world. Decide the waiting is over. Because the moment you choose with that kind of internal fire, that conviction, life often just has to align. It doesn't really have a choice. And that's not some kind of weird magic. It's a principle. It's your birthright, actually.
Exactly. And once that deep decision is truly made, that's when your real work starts. Your sacred work, really, which is the work of alignment, getting everything inside you lined up with that decision. So, first, the new posture. How do you begin your day? Start by intentionally stepping into the feeling of the person you've just decided to be. This is actually a physical recalibration. It affects your nervous system. You're basically training your body to feel safe and comfortable in abundance or at home in love or secure in that success. Whatever your decision is about, feel it in your bones. Breathe it right into your cells and make a commitment to carry that feeling with you through the day. Like, when you're building a new physical habit, the action reinforces the mindset. Second, the new dialogue. How are you speaking? Both inside your head and out loud. You start speaking from the vision as if it's already real. Florence called this a vibrational diet. You're consciously choosing what energetic frequency you're consuming and putting out through your words. So when a bill arrives, instead of contracting in fear, you bless it. You declare, maybe silently or out loud, my supply is infinite. All my needs are met with a lavish, overflowing surplus. Free. When you feel that pang of loneliness, you affirm, I am a powerful magnet for my divinely appointed partner and friendships. Or whatever feels true for you. You use your word as your wand, intentionally shaping your reality, word by word. And third, the new embodiment. This means taking small physical actions that align with your decision. This isn't about huge leaps right away necessarily. It's more like prayer in motion. So if you desire a thriving business, maybe start by clearing and organizing your desk. Make space for that success. If you desire a deep partnership, perhaps you consciously make space in your closet or clear off the other side of your nightstand. You're signaling, both to yourself and to the universe, I'm ready for this space to be filled. These aren't just silly little games, they're powerful signals. They tell your subconscious, hey, I'm not just asking anymore. I am ready. The space is prepared.
Yes, and please don't get discouraged if there's silence right after you make your command, or if things don't seem to change on the outside immediately. Think about planting a seed. You put it in the ground, you water it, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's sprouting right. You trust the process. You know deep, unseen work is happening underground. Well, your new belief, your firm decision, that's a powerful seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. So that initial stillness, that quiet period, it's often just a sign of deep, powerful inner germination happening.
Right. Absolutely. And the old reality, the old patterns, they might linger for a bit. Sometimes it feels like an echo that won't quite fade. That's completely normal. Don't let it throw you. Any discomfort you might feel during this time, that's often just the friction, the healthy friction between your old energetic signature, the vibration of your past beliefs, and the new expanded one you're stepping into. Honestly, it's usually a sign of profound success. It means the old stuff is actually dissolving. It's making way for the new. So your sacred job in that phase is just to hold the faith, keep watering that seed with your focused attention, with your belief. That old self, those familiar doubts, they will likely pop up. They'll test your resolve. Just acknowledge them, see those thoughts, maybe even thank them for trying to protect you in the old way. And then gently but very firmly, bring your focus back to your new chosen truth.
You are not broken. I really want you to hear that. You were never, ever broken. You are simply and beautifully remembering the language your soul has always known how to speak. So, this deep dive, it's not just about passive listening or feeling inspired for a moment. It's really a profound invitation, an invitation to activation. It's like drawing a clear line in the sand of your own soul saying, this is the new reality. Your subconscious mind, it's just waiting patiently for its new, clear instructions from you.
And just remember Florence's timeless wisdom here. Man must prepare for the thing he has asked for when there isn't the slightest sign of it in sight.
Huh.
That dream you hold, that divine blueprint for what's possible for you, It's already here. It exists now in the unseen. It was always there, just waiting, waiting for you to stop hesitating, to stop shrinking back, to stop second guessing what deep down you already know in your heart is possible, is meant for you.
So, our final thought to leave you with today is this: will you finally give that dream, that spiritual assignment, a body to live in? Your body, your life. It really is time. Time to start preparing. Time to start showing up in the world as if it's already yours. Speak it, feel it, live it. And when doubt tries to creep back in, and it probably will, that's okay. Just gently, firmly come back to this deep, quiet truth. It is done.
Money is not a master but a servant, a divine idea awaiting your command. It is not a lifeless coin nor a mere number in a ledger, but a living symbol of substance, ever responsive to the thought you hold and the word you speak. Too long has humanity feared money, chased it, doubted it, or spoken against it. Yet money, like all of life, moves in obedience to the law of mind. What you decree with certainty, it must perform. The world teaches that money is hard to come by, that it requires toil, strain, and endless sacrifice. But the truth whispers another story. Money is but energy in form, waiting for your recognition of its source. It is born of infinite supply, and infinite supply knows no lack. When you align with the law of abundance, you step into a river that flows ceaselessly, and every drop of it seeks to bless you. You are not a beggar at the gates of chance. You are heir to the kingdom of plenty. To command your money to multiply, you must first command your own words and thoughts. The spoken word carries life, and what you declare becomes flesh. If you say, "I never have enough," the law of your word makes it so. If you say, "Money flows to me freely, easily, endlessly," the same law obeys, and substance hastens to clothe itself in visible form. The universe is a mirror, reflecting not what you wish but what you know. Therefore, know your good, speak your good, and your good must appear. Imagine money as a faithful servant standing silently at your side. It waits, it listens. It watches for your decree. If you treat it with fear, suspicion, or contempt, it recoils. If you bless it, honor it, and command it with authority, it leaps to fulfill its purpose. Money is not wicked nor holy. It is obedient. And obedience demands a master who knows how to speak. Plant your words as seeds in the rich soil of mind. Say, "Every dollar I touch returns to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." Let no careless word of lack uproot that seed. Guard your speech as the farmer guards his field, for weeds of doubt grow quicker than corn. And remember, the harvest comes not by watching the sky in worry, but by resting in faith that the soil knows its work. Money multiplies when it moves, for stagnation is death. Release it joyfully, and it circles back with friends. Hoard it in fear, and it shrinks to dust. Give with a willing heart, and you open the floodgates for return. Command with love, not grasping, with certainty, not pleading. For money is spirit in action, and spirit knows no withholding. To command your money is to command life itself. It is to stand in the authority of truth and say, "I am one with infinite supply. My wealth is limitless, my riches overflow. That which I send forth returns multiplied." Thus you do not chase money, you summon it. You do not labor for it, you call it. And as surely as the echo answers the voice, it must come. Money is a servant, not a master. When we begin to see money in its rightful place, as a tool, a symbol, and an obedient messenger of divine supply, we free ourselves from the chains of fear and worship that so often surround it. Too many souls have bowed down before money as if it were a tyrant, giving it power over their emotions, their decisions, their peace of mind. Others have despised it, declaring it evil, unworthy, or corrupt, and in doing so, they have unconsciously cast away their own good. The truth lies beyond these extremes. Money has no power of its own. It is like a mirror reflecting the consciousness of the one who wields it. When treated as a master, it enslaves. When commanded as a servant, it obeys. To understand this law is to understand freedom. Imagine a household where the servant has taken the master's chair, dictating the rules and commanding the owner. Such a home would fall into disorder and confusion, for roles would be reversed. This is what occurs when people allow money to dictate the quality of their lives. They say, "I cannot do this because I have not enough." Or, "If only I had money, then I would be free." In such statements, they give money authority that belongs only to spirit. Spirit is the true source of all supply, the wellspring that never runs dry. Money is merely one of its many channels, an expression of abundance clothed in visible form. The master is always spirit, and you, as a channel of spirit, hold the authority to direct money into right action. The servant never argues. It listens and responds. If you instruct money with thoughts of lack, it obeys and multiplies lack. If you instruct it with confidence, blessing, and authority, it hastens to serve your good. To treat money as a servant is not to belittle it, but to honor its role. The servant is faithful, loyal, and reliable when the master is strong, clear, and loving in command. So too, money serves the one who stands firm in the truth of abundance. Consider the way fear binds humanity to money as master. People worry endlessly. What if it runs out? What if I cannot earn enough? What if I lose it? This fear turns money into a taskmaster, driving men and women into drudgery, robbing them of joy, health, and freedom. They rise early, labor long, and sleep uneasily, not because work itself is unworthy, but because they believe their security rests upon money. Yet security never rests upon the servant. The servant may change form, move through different hands, or vanish from sight for a season. But the true master, spirit, infinite supply, remains unshaken, eternal, and abundant. When one anchors in this truth, fear dissolves, and money takes its rightful place as a channel of service. Money does not create wealth. Consciousness creates wealth. A soul rich in awareness of divine supply can lose every coin and still draw riches again, for the source flows within, not without. Meanwhile, a soul impoverished in thought may grasp great sums yet find them slipping away, for their fear and unworthiness poison the servant's service. Money will mirror the inner law. If the inner law declares mastery, abundance flows with ease. If the inner law declares servitude to money, then bondage and worry must follow. To see money as servant is also to release guilt and resistance around it. Many have been taught that money is suspect, that it corrupts, that holiness and wealth cannot walk together. Yet does the sun not shine on the rich and the poor alike? Does not the earth yield fruit in abundance, without judgment or restraint? Money, like sunlight and water, is a form of energy. It carries no sin, no stain, unless the one who wields it uses it to bind rather than bless. When commanded rightly, money becomes a servant of love, freedom, generosity, and creation. It builds homes, feeds the hungry, clothes the naked, and brings beauty into form. When despised or feared, it withers in its purpose. The master of money must be one who speaks with authority. Authority is not arrogance, it is the calm certainty of truth. To say, "Money is my servant, and it obeys my command," is to recognize divine law. Just as the seed obeys the farmer, just as the river obeys gravity, so money obeys the consciousness that governs it. If you declare, "I cannot afford it," you place the servant in chains and strip yourself of authority. If instead you declare, "Infinite supply meets this need through perfect channels, and money flows to fulfill its purpose," then the servant rushes to perform. Imagine money as a loyal worker waiting at your gate, hands folded, ready for orders. If you ignore it, it idles. If you scorn it, it departs. If you fear it, it resists. But if you instruct it with clarity, it labors tirelessly, bringing back the fruit of your decree. The master must not hesitate, for hesitation confuses the servant. Speak clearly, speak firmly, and speak with faith. Faith is the command that seals the order. Doubt is the revocation that cancels it. Money, like any servant, thrives in circulation. A servant cannot serve if locked in a room, and money cannot serve if hoarded in fear. To command money is to direct its movement with wisdom. Go forth to bless, to create, to multiply, and return to me increased. When sent with love, it carries love. When sent with fear, it carries loss. The master understands that every act of giving is not depletion but instruction, a command that money return with greater measure. In truth, mastery over money is mastery over self. The one who fears, envies, or worships money reveals a heart unanchored in supply. The one who stands in quiet authority, blessing money as servant and directing it to holy use, reveals a heart aligned with the source of all. When the inner throne is restored, when spirit is master, and the individual takes their rightful seat of authority, then money finds its place as faithful servant. Words spoken about money shape its flow. Every word carries vibration, and vibration summons form. To speak of lack is to invite lack. To speak of abundance is to draw abundance nearer. The universe does not question your meaning. It only answers your tone, your decree, your affirmation. When you say, "I am always broke," or "I never seem to get ahead," those words travel like seeds into the soil of mind, and the soil, being ever fertile, returns them as harvest. The tongue, though small, turns the course of life as surely as a rudder turns a ship. You may not notice the immediate shift, but word by word, decree by decree, the invisible becomes visible, and the invisible is shaped by what is spoken. Money is particularly sensitive to speech because it is a symbol of flow. Flow responds to the channels created by thought and language. When you declare that money is hard to earn, the flow narrows, for you have created a narrow channel. When you speak that money arrives easily, joyfully, and continuously, the flow widens, for you have created a broad and generous channel. The law does not resist, it obeys. If the command is fearful, it obeys fear. If the command is confident, it obeys confidence. This is why two individuals, standing side by side in the same world, with the same opportunities, may experience entirely different outcomes. One blesses money, speaks well of it, and it hastens to serve. The other curses money, declares it scarce, and it flees from their hand. Consider how often careless words are spoken without thought. A sigh escapes, "I can't afford it," or a complaint arises, "Money slips through my fingers." Each statement is a decree, and the servant of supply rushes to fulfill it. The soil of the subconscious accepts every word as law. It does not filter whether the decree is for good or ill. It simply says, "So be it." A careless joke, a habitual phrase, a repeated lament. All are commands sent forth to shape reality. Therefore the wise one watches the words that leave their lips, for words are not empty. Words are seeds. Words are commands. Words are forces that move unseen substance into visible shape. To understand this principle is to wield a powerful key. You may turn at once from poverty consciousness to wealth consciousness by changing your speech. Declare, "I always have more than enough. Money flows to me richly and in perfect ways. Every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied." These words, when spoken with conviction, plant new seeds, new channels, new directions for the flow of money. They may seem simple, even not a V, yet the soil of the subconscious knows no argument. It accepts the words spoken often, spoken with feeling, spoken with certainty. Think of words as garments dressing the invisible. Spirit is formless, yet it needs shape to manifest in the visible world. Your words give it clothing. When you say, "I prosper," you clothe spirit in prosperity. When you say, "I lack," you clothe spirit in absence. The invisible substance is obedient, waiting only for the garment of your decree. It does not question whether you truly desire what you speak. It only moves into the form that words provide. That is why idle words are never idle in effect. They linger, they gather, they take root, and they return as experience. There is great danger in repeated negative confessions. The mind loves rhythm, repetition, familiarity. If you repeat long enough, "I never have enough," the subconscious adopts it as law, and soon reality bends to it. But there is equally great power in repeated positive declarations. The mind that hears often, "Money blesses me and I bless money. It flows to me freely and joyfully," begins to accept it as natural truth. Then opportunities appear, ideas arise, and money moves in alignment with the decree. The outer world rearranges itself to match the word planted within. Words not only shape your own flow of money, they also shape how money responds to others around you. When you speak well of another's prosperity, you align yourself with the same current. To envy or curse another's wealth is to shut the channel for your own. Words of blessing keep the flow open. Words of jealousy shut it tight. When you say, "Their wealth proves mine is possible," you join the stream. When you say, "Why should they have and not I?" you step outside the stream. Blessing multiplies, cursing divides. The spoken word is never neutral. It is always creating or diminishing, opening or closing. To direct money with words requires not only affirmation but consistency. It is not enough to speak abundance in the morning and cancel it with doubt in the afternoon. Each contradiction uproots the seed. The soil is faithful, but the gardener must also be faithful. Hold your speech steady, align it with truth. Let no shadow word undo the light. Speak abundance not only when it is easy, but when appearances suggest the opposite. That is when the decree has greatest power. To say, "I am rich," while pockets seem empty, is to command substance in the face of illusion, and illusion must bow to truth. Guard also against speaking in jest against money. The subconscious does not laugh, it records. A jest about being poor is still a decree. A casual remark about being broke is still a command. Let your humor be rich, let your laughter affirm joy, but do not lace it with decrees of lack. Every word carries weight, whether whispered, shouted, or joked. The universe is a perfect listener, and it always replies with form. Speech not only shapes money but shapes your relationship to money. If you call it difficult, it becomes difficult. If you call it easy, it becomes easy. If you call it your faithful servant, it obeys. If you call it your elusive master, it rules you. The words you choose are the relationship you build. Speak as one who commands, not as one who begs. Speak as one who blesses, not as one who condemns. Speak as one who knows, not as one who doubts. Then money hears and flows accordingly. Bless and command money with authority. Money responds to the energy of blessing because blessing is recognition of its rightful place in divine order. When you bless money, you lift it from the realm of fear and mistrust into the realm of gratitude and joy. Many people speak against money without realizing they are cursing their own supply. They say, "It goes too quickly," or "It is never enough," or "It brings trouble." Such words are curses, and money, being obedient, responds accordingly. But when you bless money, when you say, "You are a faithful servant, you multiply in my hands, you flow to me with ease," you set it free to fulfill its divine assignment. Money is not lifeless matter, it is energy clothed in form, and energy takes its cue from thought and word. To bless is to acknowledge the good in what is before you. Even the smallest coin, when blessed, holds the vibration of increase. The widow's mite, offered in faith, multiplied beyond measure. The loaf and fish, blessed and broken, became food for thousands. Blessing multiplies, because it recognizes the presence of infinite supply in visible form. Each time you hold money in your hand, you have the choice to see lack or to see abundance. If you complain, you close the channel. If you bless, you widen it. The blessing acts as a magnet, drawing more of the same vibration into your life. Commanding money with authority is the next step beyond blessing. Blessing acknowledges the good. Commanding directs it. Authority is not force, not strain, not grasping. It is the calm certainty of law. Just as the farmer commands the seed by planting it in soil, just as the captain commands the ship by setting its course, so you command money by decreeing its purpose and direction. Say to your money, "Go forth and return multiplied." Serve love, serve joy, serve freedom. In doing so, you release it into circulation with a definite order, and it must fulfill the decree. Money loves direction. Without command, it wanders or stagnates. With command, it becomes purposeful and fruitful. Authority over money begins within the consciousness of the one who speaks. The timid soul who whispers commands with doubt does not see results, for the authority is not yet claimed. True authority comes from alignment with the source of supply. The individual who knows that infinite spirit is the true owner of all wealth, and that they are heir to that wealth, speaks with the voice of law. Their words carry weight because they are spoken in truth. They do not plead, they decree. They do not beg, they affirm. This authority is quiet, firm, and unshakable, and money hastens to obey. Many shrink from the idea of commanding money because they believe it arrogant or materialistic. Yet to command rightly is to bring money into harmony with divine law. The master commands the servant not out of cruelty, but out of order. A servant left without instruction is wasted potential. Money left without command is wasted energy. By commanding money, you give it holy employment. You direct it toward increase, toward circulation, toward blessing. When you say, "Every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied," you are not grasping but guiding. You are not forcing but aligning. The words of command must be consistent and intentional. One moment of blessing cannot undo years of careless curses unless it is held firm with repetition and faith. Speak to your money daily. Speak to it when it comes, speak to it when it goes, speak to it even when it seems absent. Hold a coin, a note, a check, and say, "You are blessed. You are multiplied. You are a servant of good." Each word charges the substance with vibration, and vibration attracts its like. Over time, the pattern shifts and money begins to behave differently in your life. It lingers longer, grows larger, returns faster, because you have taught it its role. Authority requires watchfulness over inner speech as well as outer speech. It is not enough to command aloud if your thoughts contradict silently. If you speak blessing with your lips but harbor fear in your heart, the vibration is mixed and the result is confusion. Purity of command comes from inner agreement. Train your thoughts as you train your words. When the thought of lack arises, answer it with command. Infinite supply cannot fail. Money is my servant and returns to me multiplied. The repetition of inner command strengthens outer authority until both align in perfect faith. Blessing and commanding money also transforms your relationship with giving and receiving. Without blessing, giving feels like loss, and receiving feels like struggle. With blessing, giving is a command for multiplication, and receiving is the fulfillment of law. Each transaction becomes sacred, each exchange becomes circulation. Money is no longer a cause of anxiety but a channel of joy. You bless it as it leaves, knowing it must return, and you bless it as it arrives, knowing it comes to serve. This cycle builds trust, and trust strengthens authority. There is power in ritualizing your blessings and commands. Some hold their wallet or purse and speak words of increase. Others write affirmations and place them with their money. Still others speak aloud over checks, bills, or coins. The form does not matter. The intention does. Each act of blessing imprints the subconscious, and the subconscious imprints reality. What begins as deliberate practice becomes effortless habit, and soon every interaction with money is laced with blessing and authority. Those who master blessing and command discover that money begins to seek them. Opportunities arise unbidden, gifts arrive unexpectedly. Channels open in ways they could not have planned. This is not chance, it is the obedient response of substance to the voice of authority. The world may call it luck, but it is law. The one who blesses calls forth increase, the one who commands directs its flow. Together, blessing and command turn money into a faithful servant, tireless, obedient, and multiplying without end. Circulation multiplies wealth. Stagnation diminishes it. Money, like water, was made to move. The river that flows is clear, fresh, and abundant, while the pond that sits in stillness without outlet grows stagnant and fall. So it is with money. When held too tightly in fear, money loses its power to serve, to expand, to bless. But when released with wisdom and faith, it moves in ever-widening circles, returning again and again, each time increased. Circulation is the secret law of multiplication, and those who understand it live in a constant rhythm of giving and receiving. The mind trained in lack resists circulation. It says, "I must hold on to what I have, or I will lose it." Yet that very act of hoarding interrupts the natural law of flow. The tighter the grip, the less can enter the hand. Fear of loss becomes the magnet for loss, and what was clutched begins to dwindle. But the consciousness of abundance says, "I release this freely," and it returns multiplied. Such a declaration honors circulation, and circulation fulfills its promise. Each dollar given in faith goes out as seed, planted in the soil of the universe, destined to sprout and multiply. Money thrives in motion because motion reflects life. The universe itself is circulation, day flowing into night, tides moving in and out, seasons turning endlessly. Breath itself is a rhythm of circulation, inhale, exhale, receive, release. To breathe without exhaling is impossible. To hoard the breath is to suffocate. So too with money. To receive without giving is stagnation, and stagnation diminishes life. The one who learns to give freely, to let money move joyfully, lives in harmony with the greater law, and that law always ensures return. Circulation does not mean careless spending or wasteful indulgence. It means conscious release, guided by blessing and command. To circulate money is to send it forth with intention. This money goes to bless, to increase, to return multiplied. Each bill paid, each gift given, each purchase made is an act of sowing. When the seed is sown with joy, the harvest is inevitable. To give grudgingly is to plant in barren soil, but to give with gladness is to plant in fertile ground. The consciousness with which money leaves determines the condition in which it returns. Many fear that to give is to lessen their supply. Yet giving is never depletion, it is investment in circulation. The farmer does not lament the loss of seed when he scatters it upon the field. He knows it must return manyfold. So it is with money. Every dollar released in faith is a seed sown, and the soil of infinite supply never fails to bring harvest. The only difference lies in the attitude of the sower. Those who give sparingly reap sparingly, those who give generously reap generously. Not because of favoritism, but because circulation answers the measure of trust. Circulation is also the law of balance. Just as the body cannot thrive when blood pools in one place, so society cannot thrive when wealth is hoarded without movement. Money was made to pass from hand to hand, each time serving, each time blessing, each time creating new channels of good. When one hoards out of fear, the flow chokes and stagnation sets in. But when one trusts the law of circulation, the flow remains lively, vigorous, and expanding. To live in circulation is to live in the rhythm of life itself, where increase is natural and lack is impossible. The joy of circulation is that it multiplies not only the money itself, but also the good it carries. A dollar spent in bitterness carries bitterness. A dollar spent in joy carries joy. That joy returns in multiplied form, not only in money, but in experiences, in opportunities, in unexpected gifts. Circulation amplifies the vibration with which it is set in motion. Thus, to circulate with gratitude and gladness is to create a spiral of ever-increasing blessings. The consciousness of circulation also dissolves fear of loss. When you know that money returns multiplied, you no longer cling to each coin. You can release it easily, joyfully, confidently, because you trust the law. This freedom is wealth itself. For true wealth is not the amount in hand, but the certainty that more will always come. When you live in circulation, money is like the tide, always moving, always returning, always abundant. The fear of lack disappears, and with it disappears the need to hoard. To practice circulation, begin with what you have. Bless it, release it, let it move. Pay bills with gratitude, saying, "This money blesses and multiplies." Give gifts with joy, saying, "This money sows a harvest." Invest in yourself or others with confidence, saying, "This money grows as it circulates." Watch as the flow quickens, as opportunities appear, as money returns from unexpected directions. The universe loves movement, and money is eager to move when blessed and commanded rightly. Circulation also calls for receptivity. Just as the exhale requires an inhale, so giving requires receiving. Some resist receiving, believing it selfish, yet this too blocks the flow. To refuse a gift, to shrink from increase, is to close the channel. Circulation is a circle. What goes out must return, and what returns must be received. To give freely and receive freely is to honor the full law. To give without receiving is to deny the return. To receive without giving is to deny the flow. Only in balance is circulation complete. When circulation is understood, money ceases to be a burden and becomes a joy. Each act of giving is an affirmation of abundance. Each act of receiving is an affirmation of grace. The movement itself becomes proof of infinite supply. The stagnant pond of fear transforms into a flowing river of confidence. Money becomes light, quick, abundant, ever-moving, never-ending. Circulation multiplies wealth because it aligns with the eternal law of expansion, and expansion is the nature of spirit. Infinite supply answers faith, not fear. At the heart of all wealth lies the recognition that there is no limit in spirit. The storehouse of the universe is vast, overflowing, inexhaustible. Every tree bears countless seeds, every ocean contains countless drops, every star radiates endless light. Yet many live as though there were not enough, clinging to scraps, fearing tomorrow, hoarding in anxiety. This fear is a veil that blinds them to the truth. For infinite supply is always present, always available, but it can only flow through the open channel of faith. Fear closes the gate, faith opens it wide. Fear says, "What if it runs out?" Faith says, "It can never run out." Fear says, "I must struggle for my portion." Faith says, "My portion is assured, for I am one with the source." A faith is the magnet that draws from the invisible into the visible. When you hold faith, you hold the key that unlocks the treasure house. Faith is not wishful thinking or fragile hope, but firm knowing that the invisible is more real than appearances. The eye may see lack, the hand may feel emptiness, but faith looks deeper and sees abundance waiting to take form. Fear, on the other hand, magnifies appearances. It feeds on lack, it multiplies shadows, it convinces the mind that absence is real and presence is uncertain. The one who allows fear to govern closes their own channel. Infinite supply never ceases, but fear bars the door to its expression. Consider how often fear disguises itself as caution or wisdom. I must not spend, for what if more does not come? I must not invest, for what if it is lost? I must not give, for what if I am left without? Yet these words are not wisdom but bondage. They are chains forged by fear, and chains cannot attract freedom. Faith, in contrast, steps forward in confidence, knowing that each act of circulation calls forth more. Faith sows seed freely, knowing the harvest is sure. Faith gives generously, knowing return is multiplied. Faith acts as though the supply were already visible, and by that action, it becomes visible. Infinite supply is like a river pressing against the banks of human belief. If the banks are narrow, the river seems small. If the banks are wide, the river rushes in torrents. Faith widens the banks, fear constricts them. The river itself is never diminished, but your experience of it depends upon the space you allow. To live in faith is to widen, to expand, to expect. To live in fear is to contract, to shrink, to block. The difference is not in the source but in the vessel. Faith is exercised most clearly in the words you speak and the thoughts you hold. When you say, "I always have enough," you stand in faith. When you say, "I cannot afford it," you stand in fear. Infinite supply hears both, not as judgment but as command. It obeys your belief. If your belief is in lack, lack is provided. If your belief is in abundance, abundance is provided. The law is impartial, responding only to the vibration set in motion. Fear vibrates constriction, faith vibrates expansion. The choice lies ever in the one who speaks. Infinite supply does not answer the desperate cry of fear, because fear declares separation. Fear says, "I am alone, I am unsupported, I must struggle." Faith declares unity. "I am one with the source, I am heir to abundance. I rest in supply." The cry of fear is like a clenched fist that cannot receive. The song of faith is like an open hand, ready to be filled. The universe cannot place gold in a fist, but it can fill a hand stretched forth in trust. Those who live by fear often measure supply by what they see. They say, "There is little in my account, so there must be little for me." But what is seen is only the outpicturing of past thought. To look at lack and conclude more lack is to cement the cycle. Faith looks beyond appearances. Faith says, "Though my account seems small, infinite supply is vast, and it is already pouring into my life." By holding this truth, by speaking it, by acting from it, the outer must eventually reflect it. The inner command always shapes the outer form. Fear is noisy, urgent, filled with questions. Faith is quiet, steady, filled with certainty. Fear rushes, grasps, panics. Faith rests, trusts, knows. In the silence of faith, the answer appears. In the clamor of fear, the answer is missed. Infinite supply is always whispering, always guiding, but only faith can hear. Fear is too loud to notice. When one begins to live in faith, money ceases to be a burden and becomes a joy. Each dollar that arrives is greeted not with worry of its leaving, but with gratitude for its coming. Each dollar released is not mourned as loss but blessed as seed. Faith transforms the very atmosphere around money. It removes the heaviness of struggle and replaces it with the lightness of flow. Infinite supply answers to this lightness, for it is the natural state of abundance. Fear, being heavy and dense, blocks the flow, while faith, being open and expansive, invites it. Infinite supply is not earned by toil, nor withheld by mistake, nor delayed by circumstance. It is present always, awaiting recognition. Faith is the recognition. Faith says, "It is here now, though unseen. It is mine now, though not yet in hand. It is sure now, though the form has not arrived." And because infinite supply is responsive, the unseen becomes seen, the formless takes form, the invisible becomes visible. Fear cannot accomplish this, for fear is denial of supply. Faith alone opens the way. To cultivate faith, one must practice it daily. Each thought of lack must be answered with truth. Each fear-filled word must be replaced with a word of abundance. Each anxious act must be turned into a faithful one. Faith grows stronger with use, just as muscle grows stronger with exercise. Begin where you are, with what you have, and declare it enough. Bless it, command it, trust it to multiply. Each time you choose faith over fear, you widen the channel, and more of infinite supply flows through. Over time, faith becomes second nature, and fear loses its grip.